Good morning. It's October 20, 2022 at the regular board meeting at the Magna Water District, 8885 West, 3500 South, General Office Building. I would like to call this meeting to order. Would you all please stand and with me and say the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we get started, I would like to, around the diocese today, we have Clint Dealey, our attorney Nathan Bracken, Dallas Henline, Jeff White, Mick Sudbury, Danny Stewart, Leal Fitzgerald, Steve Clark filling in for Raymond Mondragon, and Trevor Andre.
And Andrew.
And our new HR person, Andrew. We'll get to him in just a minute. So I'd like to welcome, like I said, public and guests. Anybody at this time have any comments they would like to address?
I didn't have any sheets.
Okay, I've seen none. Okay. Does anybody here have a problem with what's on the agenda today? A conflict of interest?
No.
See none. Okay. Approval of the common consent items?
One comment on that, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Just note Leal's made some tweaks to the format, right?
Yes.
Would you mind
the
explaining
meeting
what they've done?
minutes?
Yeah. Make sure that the board's acceptable with those.
So as you know, we are legally required to post the recording of our meetings to our website and the public notice website. So to save time, basically the format in the September 9th minutes is a brief description of what was discussed and then a referral to the position on the recording where the full discussion can be had. That's the new format. If there was a action taken, then the action is in the written minutes. But if there was a long discussion for that action, it's referring to the recording.
Okay.
And how much estimated time savings for you was this version?
A couple hours.
Wow, that's good. That's
Yeah.
a good format then.
Okay, Jeff, do you want to approve the common consent items?
Sure. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting held September 8th, 2022. The minutes of the regular board meeting held September 9th, 2022. The expenses for September 5th to October 16th, 2022, which was the general expenses of $1,257,755.55, and the Zions, of which the Zions Bank bond payment, $83,282.19.
I'll second that.
It's been motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's move on to item G. We're going to do our department report, starting off the general manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to start off with an introduction. You mentioned it at the start. Andrew Sumption, our new HR manager, would like to welcome him and introduce him to I think most of the boards met him, but
I haven't.
Jeff hadn't had a chance to meet him. We are extremely excited to have Andrew on board. His background and experience, I'm going to have him give you a brief overview, but we feel like he is like an unusually well-positioned fit for our needs. But would you mind giving a brief summary of your background?
So my background is that I came from Intermountain Power in Delta, Utah. I was there for 15 years. I worked beginning as a laborer, cleaning up the areas. Worked my way through operations. While in operations, I operated our water treatment facility, our sewer treatment plant, and our evaporator ponds and things like that, as far as the water goes. I then worked my way through operations to where I was running the power plant. At that stage, we came to find out the outcome of the coal-fired power plant was to be closed in 2025, so I began to transition my career. I returned to school, got my MBA, moved into our HR department, where I began training the operators on how to operate the facilities, the water treatment facilities and things like that, as well as operating the power plant. As time went on, I moved more into some of the HR roles. And I'm really appreciative of the opportunity I have to serve in the water district here. It's been an awesome experience of 2 weeks. I'm excited to help grow the water district and their employees.
Yeah, we're extremely excited to have him. He has union experience. It was a union shop there, but he also has the management side, which was not in the union down there. So again, similar situation that we have. We feel like his emphasis on HR, he's gonna help us in HR issues, general HR issues, hiring, safety, training, help with the union, help with health and wellness. He's in a unique position where he's gonna get to know every employee and every manager and be able to help with continued operational optimization. He's gonna know where we have conflict and be able to work to improve operations. We'll eventually get him into our emergency response and resiliency and some community outreach that he's already been able to initiate. I tell you, I think Andrew's a great fit. These first 2 weeks, you know, it's been beyond my expectations on how many areas that he has experience with, and his initiative and ability to work well with a team. So I'm pleased, and I just wanted to report that to the board.
Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anything else in the board packet that the board had a question on? I can highlight a few things.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you introduce this person that's sitting here?
Yes, would you mind standing up and introducing yourself?
We know everybody else.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to.
Welcome.
Thank you. My name's Tia Crow. I'm with Avenue Consultants. So we have a project that's on the agenda.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, Tia.
Yeah, when we see new faces, it's like now. In today's world, you know how scary, you know how things can be.
I
Thanks.
will report that Mike Harms filled the open position on the customer service meter crew.
Yes.
So we've got that position out for bid outside. That had his replacement had no in-house bid response, so.
Okay.
I see
we're
Mike
now
out there a lot working, so that's
Man.
good to see.
Another great, I think it was a great move.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's that bridge between the field and the office and the work orders, workflow, and I think just in general, we're more customer responsiveness.
I like what you said. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And so that's kind of a update on staffing. Operations, we have seen an uptick in leaks in the areas where the township is repairing roads, doing asphalt repairs. We've talked about, you know, is there anything we can do? And Steve had some thoughts and what they already do on.
So each year the county gives us a list of what they plan on doing out here for the year. And we kind of gear up, get ready, because we know every year we're gonna have leaks in them areas just when they start milling it, the vibrations from their miller and the rollers and everything.
Yeah.
It ends up giving us some problems, but so we gear up, get ready, make sure we're ready for what they.
Are the leaks from old pipes that's been installed, or is it just because we're doing work above it?
It's just the pipes are getting older, and it's just most of them are like poly services, and they're not bedded in the right material back in the day,
okay.
and so they're vibrating against rocks or whatever, and it just eventually it'll happen anyways, whether they're milling it or not, you know. But it just happens to speed up the process just a little bit.
this may be the
One
time to
thing,
bring it
yeah.
up, but I've had some people call, they've got sewer problems, it's on their side. And I told them just because he bring up about embedment.
Right.
So if they have a sag in the sewer pipe, that's probably the worst thing you can get. The only thing is, what do they do if it's on their side? Do we have any way to scope up to see what it is from the street to the house, or
Dallas, do you
should
wanna
they get
tell 'em what
somebody
we-
independent?
Yeah, as far as what the district takes responsibility for, we'll do an inspection of the connection where their lateral attaches to the main,
Okay.
but we don't go beyond that.
Okay, okay.
So,
So if,
Can
There's a
have
risk,
Contractor
there's
come
a
out.
risk. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, they can have a contractor come camera it and,
well, if we can give them some names, if you guys could give me a list, then I can say, hey, call this guy, I don't know anybody that
Oh,
does
yeah, we
camera.
can get you
I
that.
had one to this morning, and it was a water main line from their meter to the house that broke. So we have another contractor that's actually came out and gave us some cards to also be able to get bids, so I'll have to give you that name too. He's actually a unified police officer, and he owns his own company,
Oh, wow, okay.
and very reliable.
Really good.
But I don't know anybody that does cameras, and I just told them that that's the worst thing you can have. You're better to have a pipe broke off, at least you know there's a problem. But when it sags and then the solids leave the flow, then you're really in trouble. And you can keep calling Roto-Rooter and it'll just keep coming up, you know, so I just wondered, or Roots, you know, but, I didn't know anybody that does camera systems, and they said, well, should we get that, Dominion Energy, insurance? I said, hell no, just get somebody out there to look at it and see what the problem, and you get it corrected.
And this guy that actually came and gave some cards, he has all that too, the cameras and
Oh, he
all
does?
that,
Oh,
yes.
okay, good.
So,
So yeah, if you have residents that are looking for contractors, have them call the office too.
Okay,
We've got a list put together that they're licensed and bonded to do the work here in the
Okay.
district, so.
yeah, good, thanks.
Yeah.
Sorry for the interruption.
no, you're good.
The other thing I'll highlight, we did get the logos installed on the tanks. I don't know if you haven't seen them yet, there's a new logo on this tank, and then there's one up on 41. Now that's facing the projected future road extension.
Right.
So we thought that would be the best place.
Somebody's seen it, and they said, how come you don't have a little raccoon in the corner?
Yeah, yep,
I said, that's okay.
yeah. Tell them that's too soon still.
Yeah. Still a sore spot.
The other thing I'll point out, we did have another power outage, knocked out a fuse on both the Rocky Mountain Power and Magna Water side down at Haynes. It was completed, next day repair and back online. Haynes number 7 was the only well running, and we had that surge protector that we installed, and that worked.
Wow.
That saved our VFD on that, so I think that's, was a good project. Trevor will talk about well number 2. I also wanted to make the board aware that we lost production on number 5. That's a kind of a significant issue. So the board needs to be aware of that. Barton well number 5. That's the well that we run continuously to keep the perchlorate contained. And that's the well that we get reimbursement from our partner.
Right.
And so they pulled it immediately. Since we already had Whittison working on our other well, they were able to just go right over and get it pulled so we could see what was going on. And it looks like the pump has failed and potentially some column piping needs replacement. So
What percentage is number 7 and number 2 and number 5 to the system? I mean, do they go on and off, or they share, or?
we usually pick a couple to turn on in stages. So we'll run, usually Barton number 5 is running all the time,
All
and
the
then
time.
one in Haynes is running all the time, essentially.
And which one?
yeah, just so we don't get stagnant in between.
It just depends on which one's,
Kind of.
Right
the
now-
Of the year.
number 4? Is it number 4?
Oh, okay.
But historically, number 2 and number 7 have been workhorses, right? So we're at the time of year where we're just running one in each well field, right, Steve?
Okay. Oh, cool.
So, a couple of issues on the secondary I think the board should be aware of. We had the last of the shallow well pumps that have that little section of mild steel. You remember the picture where it had the short section? That went out. So the other two are still, that have been replaced, are still operating well.
Okay.
We're gonna replace that last one with full stainless, and we're hoping that we get longer life out of them.
Have we inspected anything that we put stainless in to see, or have we put a camera
We
down?
haven't pulled those yet,
But should we put a camera down and take a peek?
that's an idea.
Yeah.
We could.
Do we have a camera on the clean side that we can put down?
No,
No, we don't. We don't own a camera.
either get one or contract it out.
Yeah, we can investigate that.
I wonder if we could rent one that we could, all I'm saying is maybe it wouldn't hurt with one's been in
Some
for a year or so,
predictive-
stainless.
Yeah.
Just to follow up and make sure. I found that in some stainless applications, things would attach onto it and build up on it. It doesn't corrode, but it still gets a buildup on it, so I just wondered,
That's a good idea.
yeah.
We'll investigate that.
It looks like, it looks like iron's attacking it, but actually iron attaches to the stainless and it just builds up on it. So it doesn't corrode it, but it does get a buildup on it.
That's a good idea. We are gonna need to add a pump and amnion filter to the last spare spot on the low zone. So we ran into during peak season, we ran up and there was a few times where we didn't have as much capacity as we needed.
Yeah, and
We
plus
felt like-
redundancy.
So we're gonna go ahead and move forward. We're proposing, in the budget, moving forward with that last spot.
Is that because the canal water's so dirty?
I think it was more of a volume, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Volume driven. We needed more volume.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, we're selling more secondary,
We need to get more,
so we need more source.
we need to get more reuse water up there.
Yeah, well, eventually,
It'll save us in the filtration.
When we get that going, then that'll be extra redundancy, so.
we'll have that redundancy, but we'll, as you can see, being positioned with a lot of different sources is critical in this drought
Yeah.
environment.
So are we gonna have, some of the reuse water coming in next year?
No,
We won't?
we won't be
None?
able to, no.
Don't we have some coming up from, 7600 from the, I thought we had one,
We have a pipe.
Maybe
but
it's
we
a
don't-
line.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
a
okay,
pipe, but
okay.
it's not got any. source.
nothing connected to, okay.
Don, did you have something you wanted to say?
We're ordering some other amnion filters, just want you to be aware that they're got a long lead item on them too.
Okay,
If you were wanting them in the spring, I'd recommend that you get them ordered.
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah, I
Good-
called
Good
and
advisement.
ordered a bunch of stuff and it's,
If you wait till January or something, or you will not get them by the time the irrigation season.
wow,
Okay.
okay.
Good to know.
Thanks, Don.
Thanks, Don. And then the last issue, just to be aware of, we did have a bearing that failed on the high zone pump one. The canal company did not notify us that they were gonna drop the canal level ahead of time, and so it was running full blast, and we think that had some effect on the bearing.
Yeah, that could,
So we've talked, and, they apologized, and, I think what it says is we need to be more active in their meetings. So we've talked, we're gonna have somebody attend the Utah Lake Water Users Association meetings.
Do they meet once a month?
I think they might be quarterly.
I'm not sure on that one.
Oh, is it monthly? Okay, yeah, so we're gonna start sending a rep.
you know
Where do
what?
they have that at? Where's the meeting at? It's at Jordan Valley Board. Oh, is it under?
Are you on that committee, Jason? Okay. And that's, would that be helpful for us, do you think, as a bigger user? Is there enough that we would gain from that, do you think? I think near the beginning and end of the season. Yeah, beginning and end. Yeah. Yeah, we just struggled we call them, like we had called a week before and there was no indication that,
John Larson is the Jordan River Commissioner. He'd be a good contact to keep you updated too.
Okay,
You just want to get him on the list.
we'll do that. John Larson,
John Larson, Jordan River Commissioner.
would you mind sending me his contact? Thanks, Jason.
I'm not sure we shouldn't install a low-level detector though, for ourselves. If it can cause a pump bearing to go out.
Yeah, that would
I
be a
think
good
Do
we
we
should
have a
put-
low level?
Yeah, yeah, we do.
what
Which
happened?
we'll need to investigate why that didn't trigger it as well.
Cause the dirty canal water.
It was dirtier this year,
Yeah.
for sure. Okay. I don't think, unless there's anything else, that the board had a question on, I think we're gonna probably hit on some of these things in the other discussion.
Okay.
So, that's my report.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Trevor, I'm gonna turn it over to engineer report.
Okay, so we'll just talk real quick about projects. The water and sewer replacement project. The sewer at the Freeport has been installed. We had a little hiccup there, but Newman rectified that. They're just working on surface improvements now. They're going to move to the water line in Florence and Edith next. They're still waiting on a couple parts, so that, you know, could be a week or two. But we'll put out a notice to the public, letting them know when that begins, and Newman's gonna notice those directly affected ahead of time as well. Then, like Clint mentioned, the logos went up. Then for the Zone 3 pump station, secondary water, we've got the walls up and they're working on the roof trusses, and so that'll be wrapping up by the end of the month.
Okay.
Are we on schedule?
Given all the conditions, yes, we are on schedule.
We had, remember the electrical equipment was delayed.
It was a long lead, which thank goodness the MCC's in. They've got it sitting in the building now, and that was one of the,
Say it's the worst of all the supply chain. I
Yeah.
believe motor control centers are the worst.
yeah. Haynes 2, that rehab project, so like they've finished their rehabilitation and now we're waiting on the pump to be manufactured. So once that's done, then they'll bring that out and they'll install that, and that project will be wrapped up. So
That project, I just wanna highlight, that's gonna be a return to 1,600 gallons per minute, which we've never been able to actually get out of that well.
yep.
With
Much
the
cleaner,
sound.
much cleaner. I think we'll be able to pump it at 16 if we want to. That
Wow.
was,
Rarely, do you get a rehab where you're pumping more? You're usually trying to get some percentage of where you were, or a return to where you were before. But to be able to, that tells you that it wasn't adequately developed
Yeah.
initially. is
Not
what-
enough perforations, or didn't we extend it down or something, and
We didn't extend it, no.
no, but we
We just
spent
cleaned
an
and deepened?
extensive amount of time cleaning it up and getting the sand out and developing that aquifer. So now transition, we've talked a little bit about the groundwater levels, our aquifer levels. So we've been able to focus in on Haynes 4 so far. So this is data that's been collected from 2014 up until 2022 of the aquifer water level during pumping, static level. So that's all, you know, a ton of information up here, but I think the focus is on the top red line, which is kind of a trend of our aquifer level out there. So when that well was drilled, the water level was about 10 feet below.
okay,
Current water level is just below ground surface, a few feet. So it's actually gone up in the area, and I think you can kind of see a trend in 19, 20, 21 where it's gone a little more up, and that is, we think, you know, at this point, it's probably because of our conservation efforts. We've seen less water during the peak season.
yeah.
And so,
This is extremely good news for us locally. To see that that groundwater level is not going down.
Yeah,
That this is, we're thinking that the rest of the wells will probably be similar. But once we get that confirmation, I think that this is a message that we can reinforce to the community, hey, all of your efforts are worthwhile, and this is where we see a lot of that is, while other communities' wells are going dry, you know,
we're dropping.
we're fortunate, and what you're doing is helping, keeping us in a good position with our groundwater levels. And I think the board needs to be able to, because I think the board gets a lot of questions about that. That's what sparked this, right? I mean, the board gets questions on how is our water doing.
Are we running out of water? Yeah.
Are we running out of water? And you'll be able to show, you know, what the data is showing.
We're safe.
We're in a good.
No, we'll just tell them that everybody upstream is putting more water in.
And that
it's
could be
coming
too.
down to us.
We don't know the exact reason.
Yeah.
No, it's.
No, but it is good to see, and we'll refine this, and we'll get it, the ultimate goal is to then be able to continue to build on it year after year and have a nice, long.
Trevor, will you give me a copy of that, please?
Absolutely.
So the question is, do we service our other wells the same way? How often do we do that as far as cleaning and deepening and service them?
This is the first of a program that we're
Okay.
starting.
So we have
You know
more
what it
that
is?
we probably ought to do.
Yeah, and.
It took a while to do this, and didn't it, Trevor?
It did.
It took
did.
like a couple months to get
And it
there.
happened on an emergency, the pump broke, and,
Okay.
but we're being more proactive, and we have some budget items that
Okay.
will help continue that program.
We just won't do it in the middle of summer, right? High demand.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll make sure we have enough other wells in working order if we do.
Yeah, I mean, you guys just need to understand that if we can get reuse water in the system, you just understand, I think there's a lot of people will sign up for it. When they
Good.
started
That's good to
hearing about
know.
the canal and stuff, they were all paranoid about it.
Yeah,
Oh man, are we gonna have secondary water? And,
yeah.
they just hear
shut down
on the
3
news and they just
weeks
get
early.
paranoid about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay,
But our own source of water, that's gonna be a big deal.
That's true.
That's the engineering report.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Steve, we're gonna turn it over to your water report.
All right, so I'll go over the water usage summary and the call-out report. The culinary water production for September was 193.5 million gallons, or 593.99 acre feet, which is a 1.91% increase from 2021. The year-to-date production was 1,386.8 million gallons, or 4,256.33 acre feet, which is a 3.8% decrease from 2021. So far, we purchased 602.44 acre feet from Jordan Valley as of September 2022. For call-outs, we had a total of 17 call-outs, which equaled 126.9 hours. We had 2 main lines, 4 service lines, and then 11 miscellaneous call-outs. There's a breakdown of each call-out in the next couple pages, if you wanted to look at that. Do you have any questions on any of that?
Yeah, the question I had, when I see that 3.8%, I'm not so sure that is conservative. I've seen some people have elected, when they gotta count their dollars, they're saying, you know what, I don't need to water my lawn.
Yeah.
So they're using it for food and other things. So, I mean, it's just what happens.
Yeah.
It's the low hanging fruit,
It could, yeah, that could absolutely be the inflation. What I think you're saying is inflation could be helping with conservation too. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
Cause they had something on TV about that, how they were going down and saying, like, the things you buy, like, you definitely need food, and
Yeah.
so.
They were reporting last week that people are cutting back on their medications. Instead of a weekly or daily, they're going every other day or every other week. I thought, holy cow, that's pretty bad.
And that was the insulin one, right?
Yep.
Is that insulin? Yeah.
Okay, that's all I have.
Thanks, Steve. Okay, Dallas.
Okay, wastewater, I'd like to just give the board a little bit of a heads up on a collections project. We've contracted a sewer repair on 8400 near Western Drive. They're gonna be slip lining from manhole to manhole, so you'll see potential road closure, just because that's a UDOT road. I also wanted to give the board an update on the CDL progress. So the 3 new operators have passed the written test, and the next step in that is for them to work on the computer-based training. So the computer-based training is before we send them for the assessment. So it'll be computer-based training and then the assessment to make sure they're ready, and then they'll do the driving test. So we've got them set up. They're working on that. One operator's already done with that. The second one has started today. As far as the timeline goes, we're hoping for mid-November for the driving test, so that should give them another about a month to practice the driving. We've got the driving test or the course set up down at the treatment plant where they can practice their backing up and all those practical skills before we send them to the assessment. I also wanted to point out that the collections crew worked with the water crew to do some cross-training on the new hydro excavator. So they came down to the plant, and really it was Lonnie Thompson that kind of stepped up and showed how to do some of the setup and breakdown of that equipment, and then they used it to pothole some utilities and do some excavation that we were requiring to install some electrical. So it's good to have them caught up on that. They don't see it every day, so for them to be able to see that and get some training on a new piece of equipment, that was good. Switching over to the treatment plant. The treatment plant had its audit, its permit compliance audit with the state. They came out, and what that entails is they want to see the whole plant. So you walk them through the whole practice, and then they want to look at your record keeping and all your sample results. So Trevor joined me on that, and then we had our treatment team introduced, and then we all walked around. He wanted to ask us about projects coming up, and then he picks a random month from last year and wants to inspect all of our records. So he had a few positive things to say, but more importantly, he didn't have anything negative to say.
Good.
So our screw press manufacturer, Huber, came out and did that scheduled maintenance based on the manufacturer. That's a big deal to us because we went from a solids concentration of 12% up to 17%. And the way you can visualize that would be, you know, when you load a solid that's at a 12% concentration in a dump truck, that's like a bowl of beef stew. Now that we're up to 17%, that's more like a load of topsoil.
That's awesome.
So it's a lot less weight, a lot less volume, and it's a lot safer going down the road.
A lot less cost.
Yeah, less cost, cause it's lighter.
Right.
That's good.
One more piece, so the piece of aeration equipment that we ordered for a spare shelf unit, that's arrived. We've inspected that, that's on the shelf now. So we're going through that, making sure that when we need to install that in the event of an emergency, we're ready to go electrically. And then we're just adjusting the plant to accommodate the change in weather. So what that means is we're adjusting the amount of time that the sewer stays in the process. We're adjusting our wasting rates, and then we're also adjusting chemical application. So we switch to a different alum in the winter, and then we adjust our chlorine and polymer rates as well. So that's all I've got.
Okay, thanks, Dallas.
So I have a question.
Sure.
On the slip lining, that's where we put an actually lining on the inside of the sewer pipe?
Correct.
Do we have any outlets or, inlets from manhole to manhole?
Yeah, laterals, I think there's 2 laterals on that. So they just go in, and after the slip line's in, they just go in and cut them out after.
Okay.
So.
Is that because we have corrosion or we have leaks or cracks?
So there's some damage to the pipe, and there's also some settable issues. So right outside the manhole, there's some damage, but what's unique about this line is that it runs underneath an existing garage. So we can't get under there to do the repairs. So after the investigation, the best practice would be to line that whole thing manhole to manhole.
Do you expect any more? Is there any that we looked at with the cameras that we feel that we're maybe down the road we're gonna have to do?
Yep, so as far as that goes, we're prioritizing those based on damage and based on what would happen if they fail. We've got 9 scheduled that we're hoping to do this year, not slip line manhole to manhole, but spot repairs based on some damages. And then we've increased our O&M budget to start doing some more of these high-level repairs. And if that's a slip line manhole to manhole, we're gonna start trying to do a few of those every year.
How does slip lining compare to, it would seem to me like it's cheaper to put a slip line in than it is to dig it up and replace the line.
Yeah, anytime you can avoid an open trench, it's more cost effective, but it also depends on the situation. We wouldn't be able to open trench the one that's under the garage.
Right.
So it's just one application that we're trying to do.
How many feet is that?
It's under 400. It's probably around 380, I think.
Wow. That's
So
not bad.
maybe one more thing I'd add, Mr. Chairman, is have we been working towards getting these guys ready for the CDL And then when Mike Harms took the open water position, that left an open position on the collections crew. I haven't had a lot of time to work with Andrew, but I've spent a few hours with him this week, talking about how we can increase that training, how we can make sure the guys are getting what they need for the CDL, and then also looking at, casting a wider net for potential employees to fill some of our open positions. So I've been impressed with his eagerness to jump in and want to be helpful. And it's a new set of eyes to look at things the way that maybe we haven't all been trained on.
Awesome, like that.
So it's been good to work with him, and I think that's gonna be real good.
See, remember we did that, that line, the slip line where we run that
Down through
for
the
Hardings?
Hardings,
Yeah.
And I think that had to have helped the influx of surface water, didn't it?
Right, yeah, it does.
That's good. It just seems to me like, and I don't know if you ran the numbers, but anytime we have to dig up a pipe and replace it, it would seem to
Right.
me slip lining would be way cheaper.
Right.
But they know what their saving is, so they charge.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, can I add one more thing?
Yes.
I'd like Dallas to highlight, and how successful the collections crew has been at cleaning our system. Would you kind of give them an update?
So the collections crew, generally we make it through the town every year. Right now, we're ahead of schedule from where we've been in the past. Part of that is the introduction of that electronic equipment that you saw highlighted on the news.
Right.
The other part of that is just having the additional manpower to make sure people are on the Vector every day. So we're a little further ahead right now. Everything west of 7200 is done. All the big trunk lines are done. We're working on the neighborhoods east of 7200 west. But everything's pulled as far as the big trunk lines go, and we should have that finished up before the end of the year, so.
So I have a question on that, like, so, because I have a lot of people say, oh, my toilet's flooding over or whatever when you're cleaning them out. I wonder if we could just be able to put on our webpage of what areas we're working in. And I don't know if everybody looks at our webpage or anything, but just to kind of cover us for.
What we've asked, maybe it's similar to what you're saying, but a little bit more customer. It doesn't seem like it's a lot of people, right? It's a handful at the very ends, or so we talked about having Mike Harms go out and giving people a heads up. Is that something we think we can do?
What we've done is.
I think that by doing that, that takes him out from what he's doing. And, like I said, if we just cover ourselves and just post it on we spent so much money on that webpage, we're not even using it.
Mr. Chairman, one thing that we've done is, as we've recognized spots where we go through and we've blown toilets in the past.
Right.
We annotate those and they're on our dashboard, and when we know we're back in that area, then we do a door hanger.
Okay.
So, because the website, like you said, it's not always visited, but we try to do a door hanger 24 to 48 hours before we're in that area.
I think maybe it wouldn't hurt to do both, though.
Yeah,
Right.
we certainly could. I
It
think.
takes a few minutes to
I think the.
That's what that webpage is for, is
Yeah.
to put that kind of stuff on it.
Yeah, and we have done that when we know that it's going to affect a larger number of people. We haven't done that when it's a handful of people. So the worry is if it becomes that cost benefit. Does it create more confusion than it's worth when it's only a handful of people versus, if it's a larger area, yeah, it makes sense. But the question becomes, do you put something on the website that's hitting one or two people at a time?
Well, I just think if you
That's-
just post
that's
something
the-
and say
You
we're,
just get a routine.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
the-
just post it.
or that
say
we're just
this
working
day,
in this area.
this
Yeah,
day.
yeah, we could.
That's all. Just cover our butt. type
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. I mean, then we can have people start looking at it maybe more often, but.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Okay, Leo.
We brought this to you a few months ago, and it's a checklist basically of our legal requirements.
Right.
And we just wanted to bring it back to you again, just for review. The highlighted yellow items are the ones that are coming due or has been due real recently. We're in the process of adopting our tentative budget today. And then the third quarter financials will be presented next month for the third quarter. And then on the second page, we just wanted to report, I think we reported last month that the sexual harassment training for our employees had been done. We need to work on the other two. Open and Public Meetings Act, the ethics, we need to work on that, of course. And then conflict of interest, annual certification. We pretty much, we've proposed changing the AR&Rs to include a conflict of interest annual certification where you would sign it or disclose any conflict of interest. So that's being implemented. We haven't done it yet.
Okay.
And then the review insurance bonding requirements, our broker did review our underwriters. He had the top few bid on our insurance, so he's done that last year. And that's all I have to report unless you have any questions.
Yeah.
This is a great tool for us. We think we want to include this monthly just to make sure we don't miss any deadlines.
Do we have a meeting on the 22nd for this budget approval, a budget proposal?
So
I thought I put
Oh,
something in that we
sorry.
had something coming up.
it's today, it's today, it's supposed to say 20, excuse me. 10/20/22 is today we are proposing to adopt the 10.
Right, and then the next meeting will be done, the budget hearing will be done on the 9th.
Okay, the 9th?
Yeah,
That's what I
sorry
think
about that,
I-
should say
okay.
10/20.
Right, I put it
Good
down,
catch.
the 9th, okay.
Any other questions?
I have no other, you guys have anything?
No.
Okay, we're
you.
good. Okay, let's move on to item H, water and sewer availability.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Board, first one on there is the Valley Magna Apartments. That is located at 7341 West, 3500 South.
Is that one right there gonna go in where, by Reams?
It's close to Reams, but it's next to, I don't know if it's AutoZone or the O'Reilly.
Oh, it's the space between the residents and O'Reilly? Yeah,
Yep.
that,
Yeah, where it kinda, with the park, yeah.
It's right off of, I'll pull up the GIS.
it's actually just.
No, you're okay, I was on
west.
that planning commission when that was,
This empty
Proposed.
parcel here.
yeah.
Yeah,
Then you gotta use the parking lot of Reams.
So it's proposed to be
for
6
rooms to
two-bedroom units and 11 one-bedroom units.
Space from Reams to park.
Front's 3500 south. We've got an 8-inch water line in 3500. There's an 8-inch sewer. Secondary water is not there. It is as we've done our projects along 35th. It's about 1,000 feet to the west is where we finished this last project. The alignment, this is looking at all the different utilities in this area. And typically we have a development put secondary along the frontage. Having it just put in the frontage is maybe not the best alignment along this stretch. So you'll see in the letter that we'll explore that a little bit more through the review process. And this may be a development where cash in lieu of installation makes more sense so that we can continue our project and choose the right alignment that
How,
works best.
is there secondary water coming up 72 at all?
There isn't in this area right now.
No, well, that's what I'm saying, farther east, is there, at 7200 west, is there any secondary water coming up there?
Not
Okay,
in close proximity.
so there's nothing.
It ends
Actually,
at,
it's
it ends
farther,
at 2820, right?
Yeah,
right, but don't we have some secondary water to the west of us?
on 35.
By Lake Ridge?
About 1,000 feet away.
Oh, that's 1,000 feet,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And this is a pretty small lot.
Yeah, that's,
So yeah, well, I would, I'll review it through the development process, but like I said, we may consider cash in lieu
Yeah.
as an option
Yeah,
here.
that'd be good for them.
Because 3500 south, picking the right alignment is gonna be key, and we don't want them to just install a small section in the
Yeah.
park strip and then not be able to get to it or,
Yeah.
in the future. So.
hey Todd, was this that project that when I was on planning and zoning, is this that one it's right over there by Reams? And they were gonna do,
Just farther west. It's where the,
So we're, okay, then okay, cause I was thinking about, the one next to Reams where they have to use some of Reams parking lot. Okay,
Yeah, that is-
okay,
I'm in reviewing those and working with them.
Okay.
For that,
okay.
townhome.
That's one I was involved in, but not this one. Okay.
That's a townhome complex in this.
Okie dokie. How many units is there gonna be in there?
So it's one apartment building, there's 6 2-bedroom units and 11 one-bedroom, so a total of
Oh,
17.
okay.
Okay, want me to approve it?
Yes, will you please?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Dahl Magna Apartments located at 7341 West, 3500 South.
I'll second that.
Been motion second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, move on to the ARA Building E location.
Yep. So, the ARA or Freeport Building, complexes, they've just been consistently adding buildings over the years, and they've got 2 more. So Building E will be off of the frontage road and be fronting the Beagley Lane.
Yes.
Smaller building. They've built the majority of the infrastructure is already in. We've got water, sewer, secondary in Beagley. They've installed it along the west side of this building, which is 6505 West. So pretty much set up for this building in the previous one. It's 1 unit warehouse building similar to the rest of theirs.
Okay. Do you wanna go ahead and approve
Yeah.
that?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the ARA Building E located at 6505 West, 2403 South.
I'll second that.
Been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's talk about the next one.
Yeah, so building F is just to the north of that building that we just spoke about, building E. This one fronts the south frontage road. Similar situation in previous building project. They've installed the drinking water down the 6505. The frontage road also has water mains, and they're gonna tie the water between the 2 buildings, so it's fully looped between the south frontage road and Beagley.
Okay.
And any questions or
I'm good.
that one?
What, my question is, I noticed there's a lot of digging going in front of the buildings to the east of there. Is there something they forgot in water lines or something? It's alongside the frontage road on one of those tilt-up buildings. They're really digging up the parking lot, and I thought
We have our drinking water project, or sewer replacement project right here.
Oh, that's it right
So
there.
that's probably what you're
okay.
seeing.
Yeah.
And that's the one that Newman's been working on, and that's pretty well complete. They'll do surface.
Oh, it is now?
improvements. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, it was a couple of weeks ago I seen it, and I thought, oh, why are we digging up a parking lot?
yeah, that's sewer project,
Okay,
ours. So,
so, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to approve the sewer and water to the ARA Building F located at 6505 West, 2351 South.
Second that.
Been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to item I, project awards and agreements.
Mr. Chairman, on item I, there's a yellow tab towards the back of the book. It's a quotation from SKM. What this is part of is we walked through our facility and highlighted some of the SCADA sensors that in the event of failure would cause problems at the plant, or they've also been highlighted as long lead time items. So part of creating some resiliency and redundancy is finding some of these items that may need to be replaced at any time. So this is just what that is. Because of the price, we just wanted to bring it to the board so you could see. And then this would also highlight some of the efforts we've put into kind of go through our plant and increase the efficiency and increase the redundancy.
Okay. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make approval for the purchase of the SCADA sensors and floats for the amount of $9,275.
I'll second that.
Been motion second.
Aye.
Okay, approval purchase graphics. Who's gonna do that one?
I can do that one.
Okay,
So, as you know, we've had quite a few discussions on a couple different things. This is really two components. We've talked about putting large maps that we can refer to and display down the hall.
Right.
So that's one part of it. There'll be really nice maps that we can change out as they grow, but they'll be nice looking, and there'll be places where we can sit and talk and point things out.
Okay.
That's the first component. And then the second component, that's probably the larger component, is out in the front lobby. We've talked about, Mick has often mentioned, we would like something that ties in a historical component, ties in the town. And one thing we've talked about that might be able to accomplish that in a neat way is we've got the sculpture out there that has a lot of, it's a representation of our system and the community. We thought we'd take that sculpture and move it just on a smaller scale out into the lobby, and then pull off pieces of each component and talk about it, and have maybe some more detail, a little background, who was involved, where it happened, and use it as a way to communicate the progress of the district, but also have something where if someone wants more information, they can go in there and read it, and then come back and look at how it ties in, to the fountain. So we thought that would be
I like that
a neat
idea.
way to help incorporate some of that.
True.
So if the board thinks that that's a good way to go, this is one option. If you have other ideas, we certainly can. We think that this would accomplish those two needs that we've identified.
Sometimes I wish we could do that electronically so we could do it on a website, but we can do that down the road.
Yeah.
So, okay. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to approve the purchase of Alpha Graphics large cast wall display in the lobby and system maps display down the main office, the amount of $4,725.42.
I'll second that.
it's been motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So the previous manager we had, I gave him a disc of a bunch of old pictures of our town. And I really wanted to take some of them pictures and put them in frames and put them down our hallway, just so it kind of ties in with this building.
Yeah.
And do you know anything where that disc is at, or?
I would have to look into that. I know I have a couple of hard copy ones that I think you gave me, or
Right.
that were brought in. But I remember the discussion about the disc, but I have not found it.
Because I would like to put.
I think Rob Goebel, didn't Rob Goebel put that together? Or was that?
You know, I can't even remember where I got it from, if you want to know the truth, but.
If
Do you know anything about that? Okay.
We'll look into it and we'll dive into some of Terry's files.
Okay,
And
because
see if
I
we can
gave
track
him,
it down.
because it had a bunch of neat old pictures
There
of the
was a
town.
floppy disk.
Yeah.
A CD, like a compact disc? Or was it a?
It was a little
Thumb drive.
Oh, a
thumb drive.
Flash drive.
Okay.
or
That helps
whatever.
narrow down.
I don't know where.
I know where he has some of those, so.
Okay, I don't know where that came from, but I just thought that'd be kind of neat to kind of put,
Yeah. We can use some of those hopefully for that display, and then we can do more with them.
okay, well, I mean, I don't want to get really crazy and gaudy, but,
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to item J. You want to take that, Clint, or who
Yeah, I'll
discussion?
kind of, if it's okay, I'll
Or Leal,
kind of
or-
lay out how we are proposing to present that, if that's okay with the board. I think Leal will start and give an overview of the budget. I'll make a few comments and highlight some things I wanted to point out to the board in general. and then the team can highlight a few projects that they want to bring to the board's attention, and then if there's any others that the board would have questions on, want more information on, we can do that. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay, thank you. On the tentative 2023 budget, I just want to introduce you to the sections real quick, okay? So page 1 and 2 and 3 is an operating cash recap of everything.
Okay.
Page 4 is a summary page of everything, comparing it to prior years. Pages 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 is a detailed recap of all the departments put together, each and every line, okay? And then pages 13 through 23 is each and every line, each department separated out. And then page 24 is a supplement schedule to the detailed pages prior, in front of that. Anyway, lots of numbers, but we
Okay.
won't go through every number. So page 1, we're projecting in our budget that our total operating revenue will be $10,420,000. As you can see, there's no impact fees in that number, and there's also no contributed capital in that number. Contributed capital is a non-cash item. It's the lines that the developers give to us when they're done with them. So that's our operating revenue. Then we propose to be receiving $5.1 million in property tax revenue. And that's inclusive of the property tax revenue that they're projecting from any RDAs in our division, or our department, our district, excuse me. We propose those to be 1.2 million. That number is so volatile. When we finally hear from the county, it's never really right on. So it's just be aware that's a volatile number. So in non-operating revenue, which includes our buy-in that we get as part of our impact fee, gains and loss on sale of assets, interest income, other delinquent fees, we propose that to be 2.7 million. So overall, total revenues, 18.3 million. Operating expenses, there's a lot in there. We project them to be 10.3. Depreciation and amortization, and again, the RDA tax increment that I was talking about. So we added up here and we subtracted out here. We propose those to be 6.3. And then our debt service of 2.6. Total expenses to be 19.3 minus our, the net overall decrease we're showing is $1 million. We add back our depreciation that's non-cash, and we come down to 4.0 million that we could spend on capital projects after all the operating expenses and revenues. That's page 1. Page 2 is showing how we propose to pay for the projected capital facilities. As you'll notice, the estimated net income, the second line on that page from 2023, that's the same number that we're bringing forward from that recap from the front page. And then we're still proposing getting the 4.9 in grant revenue. And then the projects that we can use impact fees on is 10.0 million.
Hey, so Leah, I got a question with you on that impact money, or not impact money, I'm sorry, on the 4 point, on the grant money. How long do we have till we have to use it?
We don't have the money in our possession right now, so
Okay.
it's not certain.
So it's not.
How long before we'll have it?
Do you know how long before we'll have it?
Well, we can request it at, basically, we still needed to spend a little bit of our own money to meet the requirements of it.
Okay.
So we're
But
continuing.
we're not gonna
to
lose
do
it,
that.
right?
We are not gonna lose it. No,
Oh,
it is
okay.
100% dedicated to us. So when we're ready, we can draw on it.
So we have to show them though first that we've met our
That we're-
obligation.
Yep.
How much is that roughly?
It was like,
14 million.
yeah, but what was left was about $1 million.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Which we're continuing to spend through our design and then
Oh,
construction of that project.
Cause I know some of these, if you don't use them, you lose them,
yeah,
and then you have to reapply, and I don't
Yeah.
wanna see that happen.
you don't wanna do that.
No, we have quarterly reporting, progress, financial reporting. And as long as that's maintained, then
We're okay, good.
Okay.
So I anticipated most
This-
of it this
this
year,
year
or
we'll-
excuse me, in 2023.
Yeah.
Okay,
2023.
Good.
we'll have it.
don't lose it.
Yeah, don't lose it.
Yeah, I don't think I'd let Trevor do that.
Okay.
Let's keep adding to it.
Yeah. So, that's our funding sources, and then our funding uses, of course, are, the projects that are in progress as of 9/30 this year. We have $4 more million to spend, and we've committed to, that we'll have to pay for in 2023. And then our proposed new projects for 2023 is the 25.0 million. Total of those is 29.1 million. So to balance the budget, what we're saying here, the top line of 10.1 million is how much we either need to apply for loans or bonds or other grants, or we use 10 million out of our reserves. That's if every project is done and everything's what we say in the budget, so.
Okay.
Anyway,
Okay.
that's that page. The third page, the graph is just representing our sources of money to use on capital projects. And then on page 4, I just want to point out the middle section there where it compares our 22 budget to our 23 budget. We are showing increases in each of those categories. Income, we're showing 51% increase. Now, that is mainly due to Little Valley Gateway coming online and then contributing their
So
lines
that's
to us.
impact fees?
That is impact fees and contributed lines, so
Right.
assets that they're gonna give us.
Okay,
So it's gonna be about 3 million this year and 2 million next year. I mean, it's a lot.
yeah,
So most of that increase is due to that. Expenses, we're only proposing to increase at 21%. And the bonding costs and our loans and our banking fees, we propose to increase 29%. And that is just
when do you,
interest and payments.
when
It's
do you,
not,
when do you anticipate we're gonna have to go to San Francisco again?
I would say not for a couple more years.
Okay.
There you go.
And our A2ES is working on some financing based on master planning and stuff, so. we
That's the
still
lead
need to meet
stuff.
with them, huh?
The lead stuff?
That,
working
and then
on
they're
two.
also, yeah,
She's
And
here
also
today.
some funding opportunities.
hopefully they found some for us, yeah.
That's Marie right there.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So I got a question for you. So when you said about reserves, you know, that about, do we have to use reserve money? I mean, cause I hate to take reserve money out, cause what is our reserve right at this moment?
Last month I reported the unrestricted at about 23 million.
$1 million. Yeah, I just hate to use.
Our master plan has projected years in when we do have to spend some of that,
So we do have to use some of it.
yes.
Just
Yeah.
a tiny bit.
Yeah, we have to use it within, that is a combination of income that we have to spend and then some that we gotta keep, right?
Right.
We
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
have
yeah.
You have to have
it's
certain
restricted
reserve.
and unrestricted, right?
Yes.
I remember.
The unrestricted basically is our impact fees. So any of these
Okay.
projects that we're projecting to use impact fees for,
It's
we're
okay.
gonna spend that.
Okay.
For instance, in combination between 21 and 22 year, we've used like almost 2 million. And I've already pulled that out of our restricted,
Okay.
so we're gonna.
You know what, when you start thinking about it, we're in really good shape compared to a lot. I mean, even cities. I mean, even to some cities we've got.
Hey, are you done with your?
Are you finished? No.
Well, I just wanted to highlight something that I thought.
I am finished going through what I wanted to go through.
Okay,
If you guys
awesome.
have any other questions on the detail,
We'll
feel free
yell
to
it.
come in
Yeah.
or call me.
We'll call.
I wanted to state though that I've already heard Woods Cross, they're all dying because they're having to add secondary water meters, and we've already done that. So
Yeah, they were very,
I hear that stuff, and I just have to commend Magna Water for
And-
looking
and-
ahead,
yeah.
and because they're saying it's just killing them for the cost of not only buying the meters, but installing them. They're just going, holy cow, and they didn't even have a meter, it's just a pipe, and they got to use so much.
it's like Riverton, yeah,
Well, that's why I said, you know what, we're really getting above the game, and I just want us to keep striving, keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
South Jordan's the same way. They
And
just barely
Clint-
put meters in second.
I wanna,
Clint wanted to
South Jordan
highlight that
doesn't have a
shows
secondary
some of that efficiency.
South Jordan doesn't have a secondary system.
Yeah, I only
The
knew
one,
Woods Cross.
Riverton.
Riverton.
Riverton didn't have
yeah.
meters.
One thing I wanted to highlight, point your
That is
attention to,
Riverton.
if you'll go to the first page, page 1, and you look at total operating expenses, that's down in the middle.
Yeah,
I just want to point you to estimated year end for 2022. Again, we're under budget, but more importantly, estimated year end is about 7 million operating expenses. 2021 actual was 7.5 million. That's a decrease in operating expenses projected of over $500,000.
that's pretty good.
Well, that's the second year in a row of spending less than the year before, while at the same time hiring some staffing that we've needed to hire. Inflationary pressure. The only thing that tells me is our operations managers are getting their teams more efficient.
Yeah.
Or there's something that we're not seeing
Yeah, I
yet,
was gonna
which.
say, bear in mind that is.
Yeah,
estimated,
this is tentative, but that runs counter to the narrative. When you hear that we're spending all kinds of money, the data doesn't show that.
See, this is the kind of stuff that I would like to
So
see.
we need to communicate that to the public.
Well, I'd like to
let me
see
tell
some
you.
of this
You
put.
can say all you want, but when we added that $4, I'm not kidding you, it didn't matter what we said.
I know.
$4 in
But-
10 years.
But when you hear you guys are spending all kinds of money, what I think the message is, we're estimated to spend $500,000 less than we did last year.
Well, I'm gonna start telling people.
And
that.
People are
And
still
guess
hitting me up
what?
on this building that I overspent.
And guess what?
7 years.
What it says is we're spending the money in the right places.
Yep.
Because what we do is we're saying, how can we use this money more efficiently? And if we spend a little here, how can it actually saves money overall because it creates more efficiency and people are not,
We're utilizing it.
we're
better.
utilizing it better. So I just thought that was such a remarkable thing. that
Yes,
I
I
think
want to thank all you guys for all that.
that's board support on some of these hard decisions. It's the management team, really implement it, and the lead guys that are out there, working these guys and taking the time to do proactive measures. Those are paying off.
And again,
that's-
Steve, I
that's
want to thank you
exciting.
too for all your hard work, for what
Yeah.
you've gone through, or what you're going through.
So, wanted to
I didn't
highlight
know that
that, and
it's-
we need to communicate that somehow. We'll come up with maybe Leal can put together.
So let me ask you a question. We meet with the council, town council every quarter, right? Could we, I don't want to get into a big spreadsheet or anything, but could we just go through and give out a little deal, just
Something that shows that
and then I don't even know if it even matters.
we're lowering
just-
our operating
Yeah,
costs.
that is a big, we
That's
got
a big deal.
It's a big deal because it's
Let
not.
Salt Lake County show you theirs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not what you're hearing, often. We don't hear that.
We
No.
can try to put something simple.
Just simple,
Short,
yeah.
sweet for the
Just
town
to the
council if
point.
you want.
If they want to read the data, back it up,
Yeah,
that's fine.
spreadsheets, they
Yeah,
just get so
yeah,
monotonous,
so-
but.
Awesome.
So I wanted
Great.
to highlight that. A couple things that we're proposing. that we wanted the board's input on. One of the things that we're looking at doing is we're proposing a increase to our safety budget. We feel like with someone that's focused on safety, there's some programs that I'd like Andrew to kind of highlight where he's already said, hey, I think I can help in these areas we can build on. Would you mind highlighting a couple thoughts?
Yeah,
And see if the board's supportive of this direction?
So something I didn't mention earlier is that prior to this, I was part of our plant safety committee. And in doing that, we're trying to change the culture there. We had a negative culture towards safety. And so something that I'd like to focus on as far as safety here would be to implement employee-driven safety committee or task force. When I got here, we talked about that they don't have a safety code book. And so what this does, not having a safety code book, is it limits our employees on knowing what is expected of them. And clarity makes a better employee. And it also makes it difficult on Dallas and Raymond and Steve and these guys to enforce anything because there's no code of conduct, right, on their safety. Yeah. And so what we'd like to do is put together some sort of task force to help build a safety code book. In that code book, we would emphasize the use of PPE so that they knew when and where to use the PPE, so we don't have to put a blanket, wear it all the time. Yep. We would work on OSHA compliance so that we know that we're staying within the boundaries, and we would also like to start a safety program they do walk downs. We'll have different guys walk down different areas and look for issues that might not be safe, come up with ideas to improve those issues. And if someone puts forward something that is accepted by the committee as something we need to address, and then we figure out a way to engineer it and make it work, then they would receive, say, a small $15 gift card to Cabela's. For
How much did you say?
15.
Can't even get gas to get there.
Well, and maybe we could approve more.
I know what you're saying.
I'm being
I just give you a
conservative,
bad
right?
time. Yeah.
Because in reality, we want this to be their program because
Right.
they're not going to participate if I show up and I say, hey, we're going to start wearing hard hats in this situation. But if they come up with situations where they know that it's needed, then they will hold themselves accountable, correct?
Right.
And that's the idea.
And another thing, Andrew, too, is we as the board have focused with Clint a lot about safety, and we're willing to pay the money that we need to do to be safe. And I honestly believe that we need to reward our people, and we need to maybe relook at our boot program, our safety program, and that. I think that's something we need to look at. But when we're talking about Cabela's, we might want to look at Sportsman's Warehouse, because there's one out here now in Twilla too. Our Erda, Stansberry. Just kind of look at it.
Well, even the Smith and Edwards
Well,
is pretty
Smith and
competitive.
Ed, just kind of come up.
And we could come up with options.
Our options,
even
or
Amazon.
or just something that will, but because we really, as the board, really focus. We want to focus hard on safety, and we want to focus hard on everything. But we've also gave our managers, like, hey, if our guys do a good job, we don't mind giving. It's not something that we're going to give out every day, but if it's and like someone, like you say, comes up with a great idea and you guys use it, you bring it to the board. Hey, this is what the guys brought up. Hey, we're all, we all need to make sure we're all bought into this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one thought we had is if the board wanted to have a member on the safety committee, if that's something the board
There you go, Danny.
wants that level
Be the
of
safety
involvement,
committee.
we could have the board represent if they wanted. It's not obviously a requirement, but if the board wanted to have a seat on that safety committee, that would be a great thing. So I think that was one thought we wanted to see. Does the board generally support?
You know, I think we as the board are very supportive of this stuff.
Okay, great.
And, if not, let me know you're okay. I mean, because that's one thing we want to make
It's been
sure.
communicated over and over.
We want to
and
make
feel
sure
like this
that
is a way to-
our people go home nights from here safe.
Right. I mean, Andrew's already seen situations and raised those to our attention where, hey, man, this is a real risk,
Yeah.
you know?
And I liked what you just said a minute ago, as you said, how do you enforce this? How do you enforce any of this when you don't have a booklet or anything on it? So how do you turn around and penalize anybody if you don't know? I mean, we don't know
They
what.
have no expectation.
We don't know, exactly. And we've had that mentality around here for years and years and years, but things have changed so much now that I like that idea a lot.
That's good.
And I just want to make sure our lead man and our managers are all, because the main thing is I want to make sure all our people feel like they're all in this. I mean, it's not just a management team, it's all of us as one.
All of us.
Okay, the other thing we'd like to highlight that we're proposing is adding a health and wellness budget to improve employee health and well-being, which in turn reduces time off and improves productivity and efficiency. I wanted to read a few statistics from the National Institute of Health. 43% of all adults suffer adverse health effects from stress. 75 to 90% of all doctors' office visits are for stress-related ailments and complaints. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration declared stress a hazard of the workplace. It's only gotten worse since coronavirus. Nearly 8 in 10 adults say the coronavirus pandemic is a significant source of stress in their life. It is estimated that 80 to 90% of all industrial accidents are related to personal problem and employees' inability to handle stress.
Okay, so I'd like to add to that.
Yeah.
The thing I'm finding now is I've got people that are bringing stress from home to the workplace.
Right.
We gotta address that somehow.
We do.
I'm sure it's happening with us.
Yes, it
But
is.
It's happening in our field.
Yep.
And we need, I tell a guy, if you've got that kind of problem, you better stay home.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't afford to stay home. Well, then you better learn to deal with it. If you need to go get a
Right.
psychiatrist or whatever you need to do. But I've had people fly up onto the job when it costs like $2,000 to get them there, and they're having a meltdown from
Right.
something going on at home.
Right.
And
But that's what's good about HR too, because like you said today as we talked, HR is really
Focus
broad.
on it,
It's so open. Is like, for example, let's just say that, I'm having an issue at home and I really can't come to my lead man and talk to him or can't really go to my manager, but I feel like I can go to the HR guy and just say, hey, I need to really talk.
Right.
And that's something that I think that we need to stress really well with our employees. If they've got a situation at home, or whatever, we need to be able to work with them, and we can only do so much,
that's the one we don't have any control over.
and like I said, we have our legal counsel and they can tell us what we can and what we can't do.
Yeah.
But I just think there's just so much of it anymore outside the job, in the home that, because you work long enough around people that you can tell that something's going on, and a lot of the workers can combine in each other a little bit, but sometimes people just don't want to share their dirty laundry and want to be able to talk to somebody.
I think
That's something that we need to really open our door and just say, hey, you know what, we're here, and maybe we can lead you to the direction you need.
That's the key. It's culture building that Andrew has experience working on and prioritizing. I'll read one last statistic that's staggering. It's really staggering. 90% of the nation's $4.1 trillion in annual health care expenditures are for people with chronic and mental health conditions. And the stress is the source of most of that. So I think what we've talked about, I'll have Andrew kind of explain, we're talking about starting small and building, but, you know, what are some ideas that you've had?
So right now, as most people in here are aware, I'm meeting with the employees, and one of the things in the meeting that I'm doing is I'm stressing their EAP. It's their employee assistance program provided by their insurance, and like you were saying, sometimes you just need somebody to talk to, regardless of where the situation's coming from or what's causing that stress factor. You need somebody to talk to, and this EAP gives them 8 free sessions per year per issue. And so they can call all the time. And we've got to get rid of this stigma that if I ask for help, I'm weak. Because none of us are above needing help, right? And so I've really been stressing that with the employees as I've been meeting with them. I've talked to them a little bit about what type of health and wellness program that they would like. And so far, the astounding answer is that we do a monthly initiative. And so what I would do is I put together a monthly challenge for them to do. Sometimes it would be a nutrition thing. Sometimes it would be a physical, maybe you get out and you jog so many miles and sometimes it would be a mental health thing. And if they completed that, we would award them with a $15 gift card of some sort. And then at the end of the year, if they completed all 12, then we would give them some sort of reward and recognition for participating in our program. Just as he was saying, the benefit for us is not only just that they get to be a little bit happier, we also see improved attendance, because we're not going to have as many issues health-wise, right? If we get healthier, you're going to be gone less, and people that are here are more profitable. We'll also see better workers when they're here because they'll be healthier and happier, and so it's a benefit for the employees as well as us as well.
And most likely decreases on our insurance rates. The healthier of a group we are, of course, that leads to what you pay for insurance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I was hoping is for this program you're talking about, if we can get more camaraderie within the men, it's like if I have issues at home and I feel comfortable with who I'm working with, I'm less apt to have that affect me in my work with my people I'm working with. Not that I want to sit and bend somebody's ear and tell them all my problems, but I feel less of it coming up if I trust the people I'm working with.
Right.
And I find this more when I bring temporary help in. They have more home issues that they don't share, and it shows in their workmanship.
Sure.
So, but if you're comfortable with the people you're working with, I think that helps the pressure, because otherwise, don't watch TV and you have a lot less stress in your life.
Right.
So some of the monthly initiatives we would do would be a team thing where you get your crew and we do a competition of sorts with other crews.
Well, I think, I'm just gonna say this, I was really impressed with Dallas. When you pull your crew together and you have even a toolbox meeting, that all that kind of stuff, to me, seems to help build the crew to trust each other and what's expected.
Yeah, we've talked
that
about
was the main thing is.
Yeah, we've talked about expanding on that and maybe doing a daily check-in across, and maybe get some guidance, that even more formal guidance from Andrew. Hey, here's the topic for Monday. It's going to be safety, and here's the topic for Tuesday. It's going to be mental health, or you could incorporate and use that in every department as a 15-minute check-in.
Well, it's just your toolbox talks every morning.
It could be a toolbox, but it could be expanded beyond just pure safety, or we could keep those separate. Those are ideas that we're talking about.
Something we've discussed. We haven't hit up the managers about it yet to see where they lie on it. Would be maybe that we start a stretching program so that it relieves your stress. It makes it so that when you go out and you start getting in the hole, you're less likely to get strained.
Right.
So during this toolbox meeting, you let them stretch out a little bit. I've got some stuff in my office. I'm gonna have it here of some stretches that you can do easily, and
Get you ready to
get
work.
you ready to work.
I ran into a guy that does crosswords puzzles. I mean, you pick up a magazine that's got them all done, and I said, what the heck? How does anybody else do it? He goes, I have to do it to eliminate stress. Oh, whatever works.
Yeah, whatever
So-
works. I
So if we can come up with things that will help reduce that,
Yeah,
we can't control what goes on at a home. But if we can help everybody kind of how to figure out how to
give them tools, give them options.
stretch, not have pulled muscles, all that kind of, that's great.
Because physiologically, what does stress do? It narrows your focus and you lose awareness of what's happening around you, which is what happens. It's a natural biological response.
We all been through there. We've all had the stress and the depression and all that stuff. I totally agree, but I definitely do not want to go back. I'm gonna stress this really, really. I do not want to go backwards, because when we had our Christmas party, this is the first time that we were all together as one, and it just worked so good, everybody. I mean, we threw away everything on what we were, because at the end of it, we're equal. We're all equal, even though we have different titles, we're all equal. And I don't want us to go backwards, us, them, whatever.
Yeah.
I want to see it all as us. And that was the funnest, I'm going to be honest, that was the funnest party I've been to, where everybody just had a good time. I mean,
That was a great party.
and everybody just, I mean,
Yeah, that's important, I think.
and I want to stress that, and
And a person can come and talk to him,
Yeah.
and they know it's confidential and it's kept right there, and it's,
I mean,
and they can
from the
stress
little-
out to him or whatever.
and sometimes we
he
have to
can
reach
help
out to
them,
legal counsel to make sure that we are not
You know,
crossing the line, because we do not want to cross the line. Because if we do, we're going to get in trouble, right, Nathan?
Right. I can tell you in the first 2 weeks, he's not revealed specifics, but there's been information shared that we didn't know.
So I have a question, and I don't want you to share. I just want to ask you. You probably got to meet by now with maybe a handful of people, right?
I've met with probably 5 or 6.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Have you felt like that they're,
Except
and again, I'm going to be honest with you, like us being new, it's like, you call me in, I'm not sure, I don't know if I trust you or not.
No.
I don't know, if I
That's
trust
exactly
you.
partly why I want to have them come in, is because I know, I've been where they're at in the union. I know what that feeling is going to be with a new HR guy coming in.
Right.
I want to relieve that stress.
But I want to be able to build my relationship with you. So first, I don't know if I'm going to really tell you exactly how I feel, because you don't know me, I don't know you, and I don't know what you're going to take back. And you say, this is just between us, but how do we, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How do you know? And that's why I said, I love what you're doing, but I want them to build trust in you, and you build trust as we all build trust.
So far what I've been doing is I have a set group of questions that the managers have seen and agreed with that kind of loosen it up. I tell them exactly where I'm coming from. I'm open and honest with what's gone on in my life to kind of relieve some of that. So far, out of everybody I've met, I don't think I've received any sense of unwillingness to share.
Awesome.
Sometimes it takes them a minute to relax, obviously, because going into different situations is always hard.
We've never
should
had a
help.
guy, so.
it should help the morale a lot.
We think, so
I think
far
it'll
it
help a lot,
has.
don't you?
I do.
It's just like with me, you don't want to rob a bank with me because I tell on us.
I think, it's important that we've communicated what are we trying to accomplish with this position. We've communicated that, we're reinforcing it. And we're also saying the benefits, yes, we want more engagement with the employees, we want it safer, we want to get better training, we want better onboarding, but we also want more accountability. We're straightforward with that. We all need to be accountable.
Right.
So I think that the employees know that the intent is good. It's how you handle accountability. Does that mean we have Andrew go out and he's documenting every little thing? No, that's not how you make people accountable. You make people accountable by building relationships, and 90% of the time you get them to see why this way is the right way.
And if you hold them accountable, and that's something that we've never done here in the past. We've got these rules and regulations, but we kind of like today, we're gonna follow it we can't do that. We've got to follow what's in our contract and what our rules and regulations are. And like he's found out that some of the stuff in here doesn't even match up to our contract.
Yeah.
I mean, so we've got, he's got a big job ahead of him but I mean, I just, and we're not gonna please everybody, we know that. And like an HR guy is like a psychologist, cause everybody has their own way of thinking.
That's right.
Well, I like Dallas' idea where you have a toolbox meeting, you say, this is what we're gonna be doing, what you're expecting of the guys, but the most important thing, they have a follow-up. Then they say, okay, this is what happened, we need to do this better. To me, that just opens up and makes people feel comfortable through their working with. No surprises. There ain't anything worse than somebody come up and said, you should have done this or you didn't do that. Boy, that's a killer.
You can have some sort of job safety analysis that maybe we.
Better than morale.
So that when they go to do that task again, you can say, hey, this is what we ran into. This is where we're headed. Let's not make the same mistake.
Well, it's not just safety, it's the whole operation thing. Right. Everybody working together.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing, so.
And the better the morale here, it'll help them with their personal life and everything else, at home and everything else.
Well, now's a good time to really start because we're in dark time. 7 o'clock here is dark in the mornings. And I know we have to work in the dark and that's something we have to be really careful. And at 5 o'clock, we're gonna be, 4:30 coming up is gonna start getting dark. So this is a good time to work this stuff, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay, the last item I wanted to just highlight is we did include for budgetary purposes, and we wanted board feedback on this direction. We have proposed an inflation adjustment in the salary budgeting for 2023. For now, we put in a placeholder matching the Social Security Administration's COLA adjustment. It's significant. And so we wanted to bring that to the board's attention.
What are we talking?
8.7 is what it's.
8.7.
So
I think that's in line, isn't it?
I think it's in line. I think we've surveyed all the other districts and they're doing similar increases.
What I think we'd like to see, and I don't know how the other boards, but we probably need something to support that.
Yeah,
Like
I
you've
think
got.
we could have Andrew generate.
Yeah,
something
you've
for the
got some
final
basis
budget.
for that,
Yeah.
and as long as we've got that, we're okay. Because that sounds like that's in line with what I've been hearing.
Yeah, the worry is if we don't, we know that other districts have already been making adjustments to wages. And we were fortunate enough to have board support to make that adjustment last year.
Last year?
Yeah, that 2.7
Yeah,
really helped us avoid a big increase.
right.
What we don't want to do is get to a contract negotiation and we're trying to go in the past and
Right.
catch up more.
Right.
We think the better strategy is to stay reasonable and in line and not get too far behind. We're still struggling attracting new labor.
Right.
So that would only make that worse in our
I got one
minds.
for you.
So, okay. So if the board's supportive, we would propose keeping that, but we would bring back for some final budgeting, some more additional support.
Okay.
And if anything changes from between now and then, we'll highlight that.
So Clint, just procedurally, what we're proposing is that you guys would adopt the budget as proposed, which includes that
Right.
COLA increase.
Right.
And then you will come and then present the final budget at the budget hearing with this additional information.
With additional information, but it wouldn't.
Supporting it.
It wouldn't change any of the numbers.
We're not changing anything, we're not.
Unless the board gave us different direction.
Yeah.
That's what we're asking.
Okay.
And of course, at the budget hearing, after, the way the budget hearing needs to work is what you approve today is what I will need to make available to the public and then what we'll need to notice up.
Right.
We will come, you will present it, you can present present that data.
Yeah, we can
You'll
do
take
that.
public comment on the budget, and then after you've taken public comment, you can adopt it as is, you can revise it, you can send it back for us to work on,
Okay.
so forth and so on.
So it is real important then to have supportive data on stuff
Absolutely.
that's a little different.
Yeah, well, it is, and I mean, let's just hypothetically, let's say Andrew comes back and he's like, guys, 8.7 is actually low, it's more like 10%. And you guys say, oh yeah, we want to stay competitive, let's set it at 10%, or maybe he comes back and it's 7. What I'm just trying to explain is the process would be you take public comments on what you propose.
Right.
Then after you hear the public comments, because the public has a right to
Absolutely.
provide
Absolutely.
comment on what Andrew will report on. And then you would revise it, you'd say, okay, we'll adopt the budget, but instead of 8.7, it's whatever you
And,
want to do.
and I know this sounds terrible, but the bad thing is some people say, well, look at the economy, we need to cut the water price down and stuff like that. People have actually said that to me.
Yeah, I
say,
know.
No,
I've had
how
people
can we do that? Our power costs more to produce your product? No, that's it.
I think
Everything
the thing
And
that
that's
we
a hard
can
time to
say,
discuss.
Yeah.
I've had that been hit on me too about that.
I think the thing that we can say is we're trying to offset that with efficiency,
Sure.
right? That's where we gain.
Yeah.
That's where we can gain, and that's where we've seen we can make some gains. Whether that's tough negotiation, like Trevor pushing back on a consultant fee that he thinks high, which he has to do from time to time. Not pointing at any consultants in here, or whether that's Dallas saying, "Hey, having these on the shelf is going to save us."
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
$5,500. Another one that was brought up by Andrew and Leo that we wanted to get board feedback on is tablets. Would you guys, whether we go to, rather than producing board packets, another cost saving item is a
what was that
tablet.
called?
A tablet?
Tablet.
An iPad.
And we would have
So I've got
gain
some,
training.
so first of all, I've got some data to show you how much you would save. It's significant. Second of all,
You mean rather than printing?
yes,
Yeah.
Be electronic?
yes.
What?
But second of all, in my prior job, I did this whole crossover from paper to
Tablet?
tablet, and many of the people were of this age group here.
Nathan,
and I can create a
Training.
training.
a tablet? Hey,
Your
Yeah.
call.
you're looking at me and Danny.
Yep.
That's why
What?
we would have a
You
basic
have to learn
training
it.
course.
You know what? I sit on the Jordan Valley Water Conservative Board, and I always have them give me a hard copy. It's like, where am I at on this with the tablets? Like,
Well, even if we cut down to just a couple, it would save money.
And
Yeah.
what we would be doing as
You
far
want a
as that
tablet?
goes for you to
No,
find
it's
your
done,
stuff
so it's
is
gone.
Lyle and I will create a
Is this included in the budget?
hot link
It,
so that to get to
is
where she's
within
talking
the
about,
budget.
Oh, yeah.
all you gotta do is push a button.
Yeah,
and
we
it'll
can
take
make
you to exactly where she's
We can
talking.
make it user-friendly, it's okay. These guys know how, they'll.
Listen to what we can save and then make your decision.
That's what I think, so I think that'd be good.
You want to present just some rough?
So just rough numbers, we've spent close to $15,000 this year on this.
Packet production.
On this packet
Uh-huh.
production. And my estimate on tablets would be probably $8,000 to $9,000 for a tablet with a keyboard like that. And then the assumption would be that that would last you 3 to 4 years, right? Till the software updates made.
I got two brand new tablets. They're still sitting in its box. Never ever been out of its box just to look at, put the lid back on. And,
So we do 8 instead of 9 or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
and they're the big ones.
So the estimate just off of that would be
Bring
you're
beer,
saving
somebody had to run
what,
it.
$7,000 the first year and then $15,000 for the next 3 years.
Right.
So you're looking at over $50,000 of savings.
And that doesn't account them having more time to do other tasks and be more
Oh,
productive on.
that's the most important
You're
thing.
sitting there, you can
Time
push the right
saving.
buttons, you know.
Exactly.
But changes too, and then have to reprint and everything. so-
Exactly. Oh.
So if the board can chew on that until the final budget, we do have some money in there to be able to do
We'll
that.
think about
that.
this.
Yeah.
I think what we better be prepared to do is show them how user-friendly we can make it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we really can do that.
We could.
So I've got one in my office that I can, if we can get it turned over, I can start looking into how we
You
can
have to
show
work
that.
on these two, I don't have a
But
problem.
mine's a mini, so we'd probably want a bigger one, just so.
I mean,
that-
I'm not any smarter than them, I love a user-friendly one, I'm just saying, these guys are a little paranoid, but it doesn't take long to get through it.
I can't even run my Christmas lights, how you fix it?
If you can turn,
You
if you
still
can
got
turn a
it going
page,
on.
if you can turn a page, you can push a button.
We
Well,
can,
you can use one of these phones, you can use a tablet.
No kidding?
That's why I'm an 8.
Yeah.
that's why I leave my.
But that's what I wanted to highlight in the budget.
Some
Okay.
districts I know will buy tablets, others will just send it out electronically.
Sure.
You're one of the few that I know that prints it out.
Send it out electronically, and if you want it printed, you print it yourself.
But let Nathan tell you something. When he first came here, he said, well, we need to maybe do this. I said, Nathan, time out. This is the hillbilly board. So, yeah,
Is there anybody more hillbilly than a kid from Oak City?
We won't answer that.
Delta, that's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty rough.
Hey, Magnus, not that much better. Okay, come on.
okay, so let's,
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Board. The next agenda item is to adopt the resolution which sets this budget presented as our tentative budget.
The only
Oh,
thing
no,
else,
never mind.
hold on.
we can't.
Sorry, you wanna do
Oh.
projects.
No, we think we'd be not meeting the needs of the board to at least highlight a couple of the projects that we think are worthwhile, unless you've had a chance and you have no questions on the projects. There are some projects we'd like to do next year, and we think we need to spend some time highlighting at least a few of them, a handful of them.
Okay, let's do that. Let's highlight a few of them.
Sorry, I jumped
No,
the
you're okay.
Where are they at? Dale? Did you list them?
They
No.
are on pages 8, 8, 9.
Oh, 8, 9?
So should we start with water?
Sure. So one of our biggest expenses is our water line projects. And from my understanding, these water lines that we're thinking of that need to be done aren't scheduled for another couple years, but we're having quite a bit of problems with them. The water lines that we're talking about are 8850 west, 9000 west, and 9100 west from Main Street up to 3100, except for 9000 west would cross over and go up to 3150. But they're all small lines, 4-inch lines.
Yeah, that's right, they're undersized.
We've had a lot of leaks over that area, right? I
Lot of
mean,
leaks
lots.
And they're undersized, yeah.
Undersized, so,
Create some,
Help
we need
with
to
fire
loof it
flow
in, yeah.
but,
That's on the third line down, Leo, on page 9?
Yes, the
Eight.
1.8.
Yeah, okay. What else?
go ahead.
Yeah, so that one will be, I think, really great, you know, in continuing our replacement
Okay.
projects. The next ones we'll highlight are, you know, the well rehabilitation. We've got Haynes 7. That one we'll need to pull and rehabilitate. The next one there, it says Haynes number 5, but that's a typo. That is Barton. And Clint mentioned, you know, that one went down, so we wanted to budget to get that replaced and back in working order.
So it should say
Barton went on.
Barton, instead of Haynes number
5.
8? Oh,
5.
where do
Yeah,
I-
it's Barton
Oh.
number 5.
Okay,
The other items would be the reuse project. You know, we're reaching 90% design. We'll do pre-selection, or pre-qualification of contractors this year, so that we can roll right into next year in selecting a contractor, bidding that out and get going. Other items that we have, the very bottom one is probably the truck garage. You know, so we've been working through kind of a 3-stage project, one being the material storage, truck garage, parking lot. We've proceeded forward with the material storage. You know, that one will be installed in November. But the truck garage, we've kind of pulled that out from the parking lot and put it as its own item here. We got a quote this year that helped us refine that budget number. But the intention is to still go forward with that in 2023. and get that truck garage.
I still wanna go over and look and see where that garage is
Yeah.
gonna go.
We don't have enough storage for our, these are 2 more spaces for large equipment, like the Vector trucks. And we're in a situation right now where we're storing one of them in a place that's not, shouldn't really store.
Right,
Yeah, we should keep water on the water side and the sewer stuff on the sewer side.
right.
Well, there's some, that's a worthwhile discussion. There's some operational challenges that overlap that make us say, does that make the most sense in an emergency? Because it might decrease our response time.
Right.
Or, I mean, it increase our response time, and Dallas has got some good thoughts on why that might need to be a different thought process, but
But either way, this would allow,
this will give us more flexibility.
Okay.
so that's it for the water side.
I would only highlight one more thing, Trevor.
Oh, yeah.
The maintenance shop upgrade, what that is on the walkthrough with Andrew, we were walking through facilities, and you know the shop over here where the construction crew meets? It looked like a scene out of, we were talking, it's like Halloween, you know, you walk in and the lights are flickering and it's dim, and it looks like a murder scene, like you're walking into a place where you might meet an axe murderer, jump out of the corner. It's pretty, it needs some attention. And so we think that some investment in the shop facilities, it's way past due.
We need to actually, the board needs to take a tour of the facilities.
We can show you
I've been
that.
saying that for a long time,
Yeah,
but we
because
really need to
We
do
did
that.
put carpet and stuff in it. That stuff should have been done then, shouldn't it?
The lighting needs to be replaced, and the bathroom seems inadequate.
We only have one bathroom, and that backs up. I mean, use.
We're a sewer
There's a-
plant and it backs up, come on.
No, the usage.
Yeah.
We don't have.
There's a
enough.
line.
There's a line. So we need to invest in some more restroom facilities there, so that we're not,
Well, I'd like to one day get with you guys and
We can go
figure out a day
yeah,
we
let's
need to
go
go
look
on a
at it.
tour, cause I keep saying that, we don't do it, but we definitely
Well,
need
we
to do
plan
it.
a little time before that, November 2nd. Should we try to plan a little time before that?
We probably could do that.
45 minutes
Yeah,
before,
let's
an
do
hour before? If that's possible.
If we're doing both sites, we'd probably need at least an hour.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, I was thinking maybe just this side.
If we
right
just
now.
do this site, a half hour.
Wasn't this the
probably
one we
would be
wanted
fine.
to do? We wanted to walk through? Okay.
But I know you had some concerns on the layout in the headwork, or the wastewater. And I think Dallas has got some budget in there to deal with some of that, don't you, Dallas? So maybe you
Okay.
could, when we get to that point, we can talk about that.
Is that like adding number 3 Huber or something?
No, this is
Oh, the headworks, the headworks.
But that's all I thought on the water.
Okay.
Okay, so for sewer, Trevor already touched on the reuse. We're in the early design stages on that influent lift station. That gets our headworks closer to build out to accommodate future flows. Another thing we're working towards is ordering another fuel tank to tie to our 3rd generator down there. And then to address some of the concerns in the locker room area and break room area in the old wastewater operator's office, we budgeted to kind of address some of those concerns, get them a little bit better spot to eat their lunch, store their gear, things like that. And then we've also put in some budgetary pricing for aeration equipment. We're not ready to move forward on any of that yet, but we wanted to have a budget placeholder for that. That's turning into a little bit bigger discussion. Just as far as choosing the right equipment and how far that'll get us down to the future. So those are just some of the goals of the wastewater. And then also on the collection side, working towards that trunk line coming down the west side of town. That's a multi-phase project, and that's just a work in progress. So that's all for wastewater.
So Dallas, I don't know if you know this or not, you were here when that new building was built, wasn't you?
I was.
Okay, so just to give an update, and I told this to Clint, when we built that new building, and I blame the board for it because we didn't really pay a lot of attention to it. We were told things that never happened. But one of the reasons why we built that new facility down there is because where they're eating lunch, I don't think I think that's a safety issue myself. And, but we've all turned our back to it, and
In the old building.
Right.
yeah, in the old building, we've all turned our back to it, but, you know, somewhere along the line, someone's gonna get sick and then we're gonna be held accountable. And I know the guys didn't like that idea of having to move over and eat
Clear
in the
over.
lunchroom, but their change house was supposed to be over in the new building, because you got your change room here, and it's with the sewer stuff. So your clothes are, you know,
In the contamination.
are in the contamination, and the previous manager just said, no, that ain't how it was supposed to be. Well, trust me, it was. I was involved in this, and Don was involved in that deal. And, but I went on a tour way back when, and go in there, and there they are, you know, and where it used to be your office, you know, they had Tony in that room, and then over there where the lunchroom was, that was your guys' lab, I guess, at one time. And, but I think we need to take care of that before something really happens.
That's something maybe we could address in the safety handbook is keeping the.
And if we have to spend money to do what we need to do, make it right, I have no problem doing that. So just look at your budget, make sure we've got.
Yeah, agreed. There have been a few things that have changed since that time. I think the main idea is that they've gotten rid of, like, records have been moved out of.
So records out of the basement now.
Records are out of the basement.
That's good.
The idea is that building, I think to be honest, one of the things I think that they've struggled with is as soon as the influent lift station's done, that sewer in the basement's not gonna be there anymore. You know what I mean? We've got an issue, right? You're not gonna have that same concern.
Contamination.
Right.
yeah.
But the reality is that's further off, and we shouldn't be.
How
Operating.
far off is that though? I mean, because if it's going to be not, I mean, maybe we could look at the circumstances, because we got a lot of money tied in that.
Yeah, we
That
do.
locker room and them showers and all that stuff. There's a lot of money into there.
Right.
And if, I mean, could we close it off? Could we close it off so we're separating the contamination to bring it up? You know, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. All I'm just saying is, you know, the agenda, because I'm going to be honest with you, if I knew it was going to be what it was, I would have never approved that new building.
I think what it says is we need to do something now, but it might not be as extensive because we know in a year and a half. So there might be some middle ground where we improve it and we address some of the issues, but it might not be as extensive because we know that sewer's going to be out of there in a year and a half.
So I got a question for you, Leo. I can't remember when we approved that. I wonder if we could pull the book up and just make sure, because I could be totally wrong.
The admin building?
Yeah, the admin building and why we were building it, but wasn't it, Don, we were building it for that reason, right?
Yeah.
You're right on that part.
Yeah, we were doing it because they sold us off saying that they're changing their clothes there and they're eating their lunch there, and
Yeah, they wanted
Again,
another
I
place
think
to
we've
do that.
limited, we've hampered Dallas in his ability, as Andrew highlighted, we've hampered him in his ability somewhat for clarity and what he can and can't expect because we don't have a whole lot of policy, right?
right. No, I understand that, but I'm just saying.
But we gotta
that's
get that
what-
in
That's what
place,
the
yeah.
original, that building was for.
Right.
And again, we as the board are at fault because when I went down there, is that the change room?
Well,
Looks
that's
like a
kind of-
janitor's closet.
That's exactly right. The way it's set up, it's not set up for
Right.
8 or 10 guys to
Right,
shower.
right.
One guy in one locker.
Right.
So,
Yeah, so we were thinking maybe take that office that was Steve's office and elaborate on that as a bigger dressing room and stuff. Yeah,
we've looked at some options down there, and that's part of the bigger facility plan. So,
because then you've got that big conference room. It's not even
Well,
being
we've got the
utilized. at all.
we've got the facility that we're not using right now.
Right.
That can be potentially utilized, so.
Yeah, because Dallas could even take his office and take half of the conference room
Yeah, yeah.
So.
or turn that into his office.
Yep.
But I'm just saying, And again, I'm just saying that's what that was supposed to be for, and
This wasn't.
I
it's
got
not
fought
being
on it, you know. But like I said, I just want to make sure our people are safe, and I get it. I'd want to eat over there. I mean, I don't want to be over there. I don't want to come clear across to go eat lunch in the lunchroom.
It's a long ways.
Agreed. Okay,
Okay.
anything else on the sewer, Dallas?
Nope, that's it for me.
I have a question. If we put the 1,500 in, how many more hours does that give us on runtime on the generators? That's what it's for.
Yeah, 1,500, so we're thinking it's anywhere from 8 to 12 hours per 1,500 gallons of fuel.
Okay.
Depending on the load,
Okay.
so.
I just worry about if we have a power outage and we're down, you know, how long can we survive down there with, under the situation? You wanna get time for guys to be able to go get fuel and keep us going.
Right.
Cause we could have a blackout that might last 24 hours.
We're not quite to 24 hours yet.
Okay.
So
Well, what will this take us to?
when we add this, we'll go across 24 hours and we'll be closer to 30.
Okay.
So this will be a third one, and then when reuse facility goes online, there'll be a fourth generator, and that will come with a fourth tank. So that's just kind of the plan, is to incrementally work towards that increased hours of operation.
So what, I was talking to some other guys in another area, Nevada, and they were saying that they only had so much fuel online or on at hand, and if they had to go get fuel, and if they had to go out of that area where there was a blackout, that they couldn't get back in time to keep it refueled. So
We've already ran into that scenario here in locally.
Right.
okay, so I think that's where you need to go. If you need to put some above ground ones in, you know, the concrete ones, then whatever we need to do, let's do it. The other problem you have is I've found people now up at ATK, they get, what's it called? Not moss, but they get stuff growing in the tanks because it sits there so long. So we need to check that periodically and make sure we don't have any, what do they call it? It's not slime, it's mold, like a mold.
Step out for a minute.
Yeah. So we better check that, keep up on that. Just once a year, you just do a check and draw a little sample and make sure, and they have an additive I think you can put in for that. So you don't have to pull it or flush it, you just have to put something in that'll kill that enzyme that gets, and I was just blown away that you could even get an enzyme in there, but I've checked fuel that's been 5 years old and I haven't noticed anything, so I don't know what, I don't know what starts it going, where it comes from and how it gets in the tank, but.
Okay. Yep. Okay. The admin division, a couple things we wanted to bring to your attention. We've got the basement finish in there at 200,000. We did get a bid from a state purchasing contractor that does unit price bids per state contract of 80,000. So that's for the finish work. That doesn't include any of the storage cabinets, the security. Trevor, would you mind kind of explaining the approach on that project that we're proposing?
Yeah, so the bid came in from, it's Landmark Construction is the company. There's just a few that do it through the state contracting, but this is one. And the approach would be to come back next month in November with that contract for approval. And then Leal would, you know, adjust this budget. So this number of 200, we would drop down to 120.
Well, if he come in at 80, who's gonna put the price together for the furnishings?
That's what we're proposing is this budget has furnishings and construction.
Right.
So if the board wanted to get going on it, which we think is a good idea, we have it, money to be able to do it in the budget, we'd spend that 80 or get the 80 under contract now and reduce the 200 down to 120.
Oh, okay.
Then next year,
That'll still give us
that
some room
remaining
for-
amount would help with all the, you know, file storage, shelving, scanners, you know, security pads, the things we need
Oh.
to finish.
Don't
it
we
off,
still need to get a big
furniture.
table down there?
Big
A conference
table,
Yeah,
get
all
that.
those furnishings.
So when you say it comes with furniture, I hope it isn't nothing the stuff we got here now.
The 80,000 doesn't, from Landmark, that's just to.
Just the rough end. I mean, just to do the,
Finish it.
No
Okay.
furnishing.
Right, set
Okay.
up
No
all the
furnishings,
rooms,
but
the
the finish.
electrical, the
Okay.
sheetrock, carpet, paint, all that.
okay.
And then next year's budget would be
Furnishing.
for all that type of stuff.
The accessories.
Okay.
Okay. Has anybody addressed this? We've got to add a place for Andrew.
Yep, so we're gonna pull up, let's talk about that. While Trevor's pulling that up, I'll just say we've got parking lot modifications.
Right.
To add the additional 4 employee spaces. We're now at max capacity, with the addition of our team.
Right.
We've looked at that option that I think the board has suggested of, removing the fencing between the 2 properties and creating additional parking. After further discussion with the operations team, that would limit our ability to pull through and fill from that fire hydrant, potentially. Because now we're pulling equipment through a parking area and we'll have people in that space.
Oh, yeah.
We filled all of our Vector truck equipment, all of our emergency storage trailer, and it would limit access with the tank a bit. So, and it's not really ideal for employees because then you're crossing the path. You know, it's just not as, it's doable, but we think there's some downsides to it.
The
So
thing that I question there is like, this is the way I look at it, is if you're gonna do that over there, you need to make it worthwhile. You know, instead of us saying, we're only gonna go back so far and because we don't wanna do into this, and eventually you're gonna outgrow that. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna spend additional money to extend it out. If you're gonna do it right and extend it out. Take out that whatever the
Garden area and do what we need to do.
And just do it right.
Yeah.
Extend it out, not just for 3 or 4 spots, set it out for 10 spots. And if you have to take it back in there, if not,
Or
let's
whatever
not
you-
spend the money and let's just put the 4 parking spots out front.
well, that's certainly an option.
But I'm just saying, if we go ahead and do that, and we're only gonna do it for 4 or 5 parking space, it's really not worth the money.
Well, I think this is the way I would say it. If that investment had to be tore out and redone, I would agree. But I don't think that changes, extending it 4 spaces is not gonna add any cost to any future expansion, except the curb along the edge and a little bit of the digging. It's not like that's wasted money, is what I'm saying.
Oh.
But the problem is it triggers a dramatic increase in expense and time frame because now we're
If you
getting
go
into,
more than
if we go more, because now we're into the stormwater.
Yeah.
And stormwater, as you know, if we don't use what we have, we've got to put that somewhere else.
Right.
So
And I understand that
it's-
part.
It creates
But eventually, we're building in the basement for growth, right?
we are.
So as you build it in for growth, we've got to come up with growth for parking.
Well, and that's where those 4 spaces will accommodate the growth in the basement.
Yeah,
But if you have a
we were
bigger
talking
truck-
about- Yeah, but we were talking if a contractor comes in, it would be better if they parked in the back and, came in and then went down and had the meeting.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to accommodate
Well,
that.
and that's why he was saying 10.
Right.
Is only for contractor visitors could come in and meet with them.
Yeah.
But eventually,
That was the only reason.
yeah, it's a
Is
challenge.
that what we were
as you
talking?
get more people, though, you're going to hire more people for downstairs eventually.
Oh.
Might not be today or tomorrow, but I mean,
Yeah.
and the
It's a valid point.
and
It's just,
and your parking stalls out there are so narrow. I mean, they're not very wide, and I mean, I don't know.
it's just that we're talking of, rather than a $80,000 expansion, you're in several $100,000. I mean, you might even be $500,000
Okay.
by the time you're done. If we're
Below grade.
below grade, stormwater retention, you start getting into but we can certainly come back with that option and
Let's
see how much
only
we can.
talk about it when we do that walkthrough. I would really like to, that was something that came up when we were looking at, say, could we put 10 in instead of, or 8 in
We certainly
instead?
could. It just comes at a dramatic cost increase.
It changes because of the stormwater, it
Yeah.
changes everything? Okay.
But we can certainly come back and present that option with the board. We
Well,
can
I'm
put some
I'm
numbers
just
to-
thinking if you're going, it's just like as I go out there, when we did that, that deal where, when we had that open house. I mean, I don't know how you open your car doors without.
Hitting
I mean,
another car.
Yeah, there's just not much parking back there.
There's not, you're right.
And like you say, if you're gonna add 6 parking spots, you might as well add 4 more, or make
Well, I
it.
thought we were only adding 4, weren't we?
4.
Yeah, that's all we're adding is 4, and that's why we were saying, can't we go a little farther and just get 4 more?
We'll come back, we'll put together an estimate of what it would take to maximize 10 spots.
Or just, you know, just do it as if you're gonna hire people to fill the basement. Well, how many more spots would that be? And, you know, eventually you might need 1 more person here, so you might have 4 in the front.
Yeah, that's,
I mean, you gotta just kinda look at the whole thing, the whole picture, not just for now.
yeah. And again, I think this is, the only thing I'll say, just as a last thought, this is staged growth that meets our needs. See, I think our concern as a group is if we go too big, you know, that's pushes back schedule, it increases cost dramatically, it becomes a much different discussion, and it pushes off the timeline, gets, you know, rather than being able to do it next year, most likely the earliest we're potentially talking, you know, that the approvals to get stormwater approvals, and that becomes more
Well, let's look at it this way.
extensive. So I think that's just,
Let's
as
do it in
long
the
as
phase.
the board understands
Let's do it
that.
in the phase.
Yeah.
We could put that on second phase, but I want to look at that potential, so.
Okay,
why
that's a
don't you
good idea. How do we
print out-
phase that?
Yeah, print out, we don't want to hold back, we do not want to hold back. But why don't we print out what we had before, because I don't have the old copy.
Yeah,
that
let's
you
do
gave me.
that. Let's
So
do a
print that
phased
out and have it
approach.
ready for us.
Good idea.
Phase 1, phase 2,
Sure,
costs.
sure.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's look at that. We
That's a
don't
good
want to
idea.
hold back on what we're doing right now. We need to get that right now.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, we'll, watch the video.
yeah, let's show them. This is an option for the boardroom table needs. These are called nesting tables.
So does that replace this table?
It would.
Okay.
They can come in the same color configuration we have, or we could go with something different. They just give you a lot of flexibility.
Great if you got a church. It sure makes it nice if you're cleaning a room or something for like once a year.
Yeah, we could clean.
Kinda like the tables at the school, when they fold them up for lunch,
Yeah.
clean underneath.
Oh, yeah.
I think we sacrifice some rigidity. They're not gonna be as, you know, solid and may not look as high quality, but we gain on flexibility.
Yeah, yeah. So what would we be proposing to utilize this same table system here? What would you guys think of?
I think we would need, so you got the 2 corners, you'd want 4, just like you've got there, so that you could create one big solid table, or you could extend, you know,
Right.
this side out. We need a spot, we'd like to have Andrew at the board, so we need an extension on one side. Mick has also mentioned it would give us the option to bring up a table for board meetings where someone could come up and address the board.
Well, my main concern is I think we need to put all our managers on one side.
Yeah.
So we're not going here and here. And if you took and put a sleeve onto that and extended it out
Yeah, we
4
could all be
feet.
on this side.
Where you could all be on, and the attorney could be at this table too,
Yeah.
and then, you know, where we're not just so.
And people, and maybe it's people that come address the board is on that side, you know, it's open.
Well, we've got,
Or,
you know, I don't know if we're big enough to even do that. I mean, I think we need to add on. I mean, we've got a lot of money tied into this. I don't know if you can't get a sleeve to add, you know, to add on another 4
We
feet.
can, that is an option. It just doesn't solve, you know, the utilization of this room for.
Oh, you're
construction
thinking of
meetings.
having a meeting.
Yeah,
where everybody wants to sit around the table and.
right.
Like an oval or?
Yeah,
Oh.
this would give us that option. But
The only thing I don't like about this, and this is just me, I think that looks too cheap for this room. Now, that's just my opinion.
you do sacrifice. For the functionality, I think there are sacrifices, so.
So is the basement big enough for, I thought we were talking before, if we do our basement thing,
Yeah,
that's where our conference will be for your
yeah,
contractor conference.
we could utilize something like this in the basement, or just a nice big round table. We have options. This extending just this piece is gonna be the least expensive.
Right.
The only downside is they don't guarantee it will match exactly to the existing finish, but I don't know that we care that much.
Do you care? Does it go?
If it's I mean, it's gonna be the same top,
Yeah.
but it might not be the exact same color tone, you know what I mean? So it's like carpet.
Show us.
When you buy carpet,
Yeah.
even if it's the same color, if it's in a different dye lot, it can look.
Just get a sample, let's see it.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there. I would say let's go with the extensions on both sides
Okay,
and get us a sample.
okay.
And let's get Mr. Interior Decorator here to approve it. And then we'll go from
You
there.
could probably even go a whole different color and it'd look good like caps on the
Oh,
end.
heck
on
yeah.
the ends.
Oh, heck
You
yeah.
could
I'm
do
not
that.
worried about it.
Yeah,
I think it would
absolutely.
look
We
good.
could go gray. If it was a gray, it might look.
Just get what they've got that matches this and we'll see how close it is.
Okay.
And then you guys can decide.
And how big are the
Extension?
extensions on these? Are about like, they'd probably be about
I'm
what?
thinking it's that right there, but that might be. a
We
little-
told them what we wanted, and they said they could do it. I think we were only at the time talking 3 feet.
Is that enough?
This is more than that.
Well, even, you know what though, even if you
If we go that much more into the room, we're gonna lose a lot of capacity for, guests, but.
Hey, when
you get such
you
a
have
full house in here.
When you have a budget hearing, it don't matter what you
Yeah.
got. They were standing outside. so.
One on
Hundred
each end,
can
the
fit right
podium in
here,
the
right
middle.
now.
But then,
Okay,
Podium
if you
there.
guys feel like you can take another body over there, we can do that
Okay,
for now.
yeah.
But we could definitely cut down this budget to probably a third and do what we're talking here.
Let's see what it costs.
you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to have them come out and bring us 2 pieces of furniture.
Okay.
It doesn't have to match, just bring it, let's put it on there, let's see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Let's see if it's gonna look good or, cause you know what, I'm gonna be honest, we got too much money tied up into this building itself.
That
to-
looks too cheap.
To
when
go
we've already
cheap,
got
to go
this.
cheap.
Yeah,
I mean, we've got too much expense and we don't get a full crowd in here.
Okay,
But then
we'll go
we
that
wouldn't-
direction.
We wouldn't have a
And you could probably bring this back a little bit if you
well,
had
and
to.
if I had anything to do with it, this should have been only about right there. I can't even reach this.
I know,
damn
I
thing.
agree with you
This
too.
is way too wide, but anyway, that's
Then we
okay.
wouldn't
Let's
have
make
a
it work.
board, oval, whatever table that you could sit all the way around.
Yeah, if you wanted to move these, if they were movable,
In here,
the problem is if they're gonna be movable.
They're not gonna be.
They're not gonna be, you're not gonna be able to sit.
Yeah,
'Cause you'll
yeah,
have
it'll be
you'll have
blocking your
you'll
feet.
have
So let me ask you a question. When you have your meetings with your contractors, could you not like, you sit here and you sit, well, no, you got blueprints you gotta look at.
Yeah,
I think when we have the basement done, that issue's gonna pretty well
I
go
mean,
away.
the basement can only accommodate so many.
Right.
That table's not gonna be. as
How
big.
many at a boardroom? I mean, how many at a,
We'll have a
at-
typical like pre-con for a development.
Uh-huh.
We've got 4 or 5 from our team, and then they usually have 2, 3.
Okay.
And that
So-
will accommodate that.
so weren't we already
Yeah, we're
planning
planning
for
for
that
that.
accommodation?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those
okay.
type. I mean, but we have.
But you could even throw down a portable table if you needed downstairs
Yeah.
for more room, right?
Yeah, if
for
we
you.
had something similar to this where it was.
or
slightly
you know what you could do?
adjustable.
I know this sounds cheesy, but this would even work. Get some of these that you want and set it over there for your meetings, for your construction meetings. And then when you're done, fold them up and roll them in the closet.
It's an option.
I mean,
Well, they're gonna do them downstairs for their meeting.
when they get it done, yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, we should get it done fast if we do it. Get it approved.
So if that's the direction, we'll cut this down for the final.
Yeah, I'd like to
budget.
see, I'd like to just see an extension. I'd like him to bring out two inspections, because honestly, I would like to have all all our management and our attorneys sit all on one table.
Yeah. So let's,
That's
I know where it's gonna
That's
go.
fine, we could change the orientation too of the attendees. We could change that to, horizontal, I mean, they could face this way.
I'm just trying to think well, yeah, I remember the last time we had,
If that's the case, do you need more, or could you just move this over to here?
well,
I don't think it comes off.
Yeah,
It doesn't go across.
It would.
it doesn't
No,
look
but it's-
that way.
no, it
if
doesn't
it's off
right
here.
there. It's right here.
yeah.
So,
Slid the
but
board,
let,
or we slid the board over. So, I don't know.
I think you only need 3 feet, don't we?
Well, to get enough with the
For
current
one more
arrangement.
person there.
But we would have to, or we'd have to, yeah. It's not as.
You know what, let's just leave it alone and make it work, we'll figure it out. Let's just screw the money and we'll just make it work. If we're all just like this, who cares?
So is that item gonna stay in the budget then?
Dude, what's the direction from the board? Would you like us to remove it?
What do you guys wanna do on it? I mean, I
How
know what
much
I
is it?
wanna do,
How
but
much is
I
it
like to
if
see
we
the two
extend it?
extensions on here.
And I'll tell you, I don't have a price on this. So this number is most likely high. I just haven't had I haven't had the pricing come in yet on this.
So importantly, just because it's in the budget doesn't mean you have to spend the money. If
Right.
it's not in the budget, then that's, I mean,
That's
you
a-
could
that's an
probably
issue.
amend it if you need to, but, so,
So we don't have a price on extension for the 2 wings?
No, but that was much less. I know we're gonna be way less than this option.
you're gonna probably be looking at $1,500
Yeah, I
per
mean,
side.
We're probably under 5,000.
If you put the two extensions here and move that microphone in the middle here, would that work?
Yeah,
Why don't we look at that
okay.
and see if we can make it work? Is that okay?
Oh, no, that's fine, I'm
Like
just
I said,
saying.
we've got a lot of money
No,
here.
I'm saying we got a lot of money here, and I like the idea of what Steve said too. If we have to, we can put, if we can't get it to match, it'd be better just to go off with a trim,
Odd
like,
color, yeah.
Great, or.
Like
I
a
mean,
gray would
that
look
matches
nice on
the-
that end.
Just kind of
You know?
ties in or white. I don't love white, but.
White,
Oh,
gray,
white's hard.
gray's
Gray
better.
better.
Okay, so let's
We
go
could go
that
that
direction.
approach and come back.
but I would
with
like
some
to see
final-
if they have a couple pieces of this that they could just bring out, and we could just make a decision and say yay or nay, or,
Okay,
but leave it in the budget and just, if
So
we
I-
leave.
Yeah, I propose leaving the 30,000 in.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we know that the board doesn't like
You know why?
Right.
direction.
Because we're also gonna put 2 extensions, we're gonna cover that damn
Yeah,
window.
yeah, we talked, I mean, we'll put something up there even if.
You know what
it's
my
not-
recommendation is? Why don't you call the company or whoever it is, come back and put dark tint
We've
on
tried
the
to-
top and right here. Don't darken the bottom because that's our view, but take the two, the window up there and right here. And then the rest around here, leave it and just call a company and have them come in,
And
since you
tint it.
can't get that company to come back.
We're gonna have to get a different company.
And just have them darken them out, so that's dark, but I don't wanna see these windows darked up, because then you lose everything.
I apologize, that's on us. We
It
haven't
isn't.
been able to find
it's-
a solution yet.
It's not your fault, it's nobody's fault, it's just,
that's
it's
okay.
what it
That's on
is.
us. We haven't got response and we'll keep working.
Right, okay.
And good luck when you do. Okay, so let's move on.
Okay.
So we'll leave that, right?
Yes.
Leo, we'll leave it?
Yes.
Okay.
Pull it down for now.
Okay.
Now can I waylay into what I've tried to before? or do
Okay,
you
sorry.
guys come
What about the replacement? What about,
Exactly.
what's that one? Office and boardroom
Oh, the
chair.
replacement of office and boardroom chairs?
We're gonna change these chairs?
No, these ones here that are all ripped.
Oh, yeah, okay.
They've reached 6 years life, you're generally 5 to 7 when you start considering. So,
As
we
much as-
would take the ones that are still in decent shape and reuse them somewhere that we feel like if there's opportunities in the other departments. But we would get rid of the ones that are or salvage the ones that are in real poor shape. So we put some money in there to do that if the board feels like.
Can they refinish them?
They can't. I mean, we could completely refinish with
No, I meant
with a
refinish.
cloth, but they can't repair, they can't fix the type of damage with this type of.
They never did give us our chairs, did they? Or did they?
We
Where's
did
the
get some-
damage at? It's not on the upholstery stuff?
Sorry about that one.
It's not on the covering?
This covering is not repairable.
Oh, no, I meant they can't tear it off and put a brand new one.
Oh, we haven't explored that option. I
Oh.
think by the time you get into that, it's probably not gonna be worth the cost.
Oh, it
It
would-
costs as
okay.
much as to buy a new chair.
Yeah.
Okay. I know some people have been getting full stuff redone, and the new stuff is more rugged than the original. I don't know what it costs, but I'll
We
find
could
out.
certainly explore that,
I'll find out.
yeah. It would,
You'd also be looking at, the wheels are 5 years old.
yeah, you're 6 years old on the, yeah.
You're 6 years old on everything else.
So would need to plan on being able to get another, if we feel like the chair can go another 5 or 6 years to get the life of recovering, I don't know, I think.
You could probably pass these on down.
There's no mechanical
out in-
damage, so it's just the covering, right?
No, I don't think there's any mechanical damages that's
I've only
popping up.
used them once a month, for hell's sake.
Some of
But
them
if-
get used more than others, like.
But as soon as you put
Oh.
the upholstery on, then the wheel's gonna go off.
God, no, that would be the crap, yeah, okay. All right, whatever you guys, I mean.
Okay.
So, do you want us to leave that in there for now and then just
I
look
would.
into some other options too? Okay, we can do that.
Any other comments, questions?
I don't have any.
No.
Okay, so the next agenda item is the resolution that will adopt this budget as is, as our tentative. The tentative will be available for public inspection for 7 days prior to the hearing. And this resolution also sets the budget hearing
At
date
6
and time.
Right.
Right.
And we'll notice the budget hearing as Utah code mandates. So if we could approve this resolution, it will state everything we need to.
Okay, so we'll
Right.
approve both,
Sorry, hang
the
on.
date and the,
Yeah, that,
and the
now,
resolution.
now therefore be it resolved. Nathan, you had a
Yeah,
comment?
the resolution looks great. The one thing I noted is, it looks like we need to, you would approve the resolution, but it seems like we need to update the actual budget that will be made available to fix the, so it says Bartonwell 5 instead of Haynes.
oh, yeah.
Is that right, Trevor?
Oh, yes,
It'd be
sorry.
5 instead of 8.
Yeah, so I think what you would say is we move to approve the resolution and to amend the tentative budget to say Wellfield Rehabilitation Barton Well number 5 instead of Haynes Well number 5.
And we also need to change the basement finish cost.
Not until we approve the 80,000, right?
Yeah.
So if they approve the 80, I won't, tell me if this is right or wrong, Nathan. On the basement finish, we have 200,000 in tentative.
Yeah,
We are planning on coming to the board for approval of the 80,000 bid. If they approve that, it will change this number. And I propose changing that number in the final,
so that's a change.
before
that-
the final.
Yeah, so I think, what we post, what we approve today is what we have to make available to the public, and that's what we have to discuss at the public hearing. After we take public comment, we can say, hey, we've got the bid now, and we can adjust this figure, and we can approve the final with those adjustments at that time.
That's before we approve it.
Yeah, so basically, we'll approve this today. I know we need to at least change the Barton well. That's what's published, that's what's given to the public to review. The public comes prepared to the public hearing to discuss this.
Right.
You will then have the budget, you can say, okay, we included $200,000 to include something. We now have more finite numbers on what the basement finishing costs are. We propose that the final budget be amended, so it's not 200, it's 120 or whatever. But it doesn't look like we have that figure now, so we can't include it in
Right.
tentative.
I do have one more question. Our budget hearing is scheduled for November 9th at 6 PM. Our board meeting is scheduled for November 10th at 10 AM. So is it okay to hold the hearing on the 9th and then approve the budget on the 10th in that board meeting?
Yes.
Okay,
So when, all you have to do is hold a public hearing and take public comment.
okay,
You do not have to approve the budget at the public hearing, although that is the more common way to do it, but sometimes people will come and say, oh yeah, we didn't think about that, or we need to make some revisions, or we have some new numbers, we don't have time tonight to do it, and so then you can do it just at your next regular meeting. And that doesn't require any further notice other than the normal 24-hour notice. I thought, though, looking at the agenda, that the next meeting, so,
Oh, you're right. It's a week later.
yeah, so the,
Sorry.
would be, and also, is it the 16th, which is a Wednesday, or the 17th, which is the Thursday?
Did I screw
17th's a
that up, too?
Thursday. I thought it was gonna be the 10th, wasn't it?
Well, it was the
10th is,
10th, and then it was a
problem is-
holiday for Veterans Day.
Oh, okay.
And then we talked about
Can we have
holding
our,
it the week
can we have
later.
our meeting on a Wednesday?
Yeah, you can change your
No, I
meeting
think
as
we
long as you
talked
give
about that,
notice.
sorry.
And to be honest, guys, you could do your regular board meeting with the hearing. You don't have to hold them separately.
Oh,
The difference, though, is that you're holding the public hearing at night when people aren't at work.
right.
But if you wanted to, I mean, most of my districts meet at night anyway, and so they just do their public hearing as part of their normal, regular meeting. They just notice it as a hearing.
How long do we anticipate the budget part of the meeting?
Depends on who comes.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, it just, like, today, you guys have gotten a lot of detail on the tentative budget. And that's for you. The point of today's meeting is to basically get to a point where, okay, we're good with this budget to propose to the public to review.
Yeah,
You could really, the public hearing is really for the public to come and comment. So if there aren't a lot of people commenting, you guys are already familiar with it. We can
We
go through
are.
the changes you need. I mean, it could be, some of them are 5-10 minutes long.
yeah, you guys are comfortable now that it's been presented, right?
Yeah, yes.
So really what we do is just get our public comment, and then we're ready to go.
Yeah, so that public hearing could, I
Maybe
mean,
an hour?
it could be, it could be 10,
10 minutes.
15 minutes.
If we're not increasing the budget,
Right.
then I don't think we'll have that many people.
It
don't you
should
think?
take over 10 or 15 minutes to do
Yeah.
that part.
Well, as long as we don't make a change. If we're adding,
Yeah.
then people are gonna be there, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you could, if you wanted to, it'll be a late night, is do your meeting with the hearing, or you could just have a meeting be short, cause it's night, and
Want to
do
do it all
your
in one?
regular meeting
I
at
don't
17.
care.
No, I don't matter
that'd
to
be
me.
fine with me.
Are
Is
we,
it easier?
are we able to keep the agenda items for the November light? That
Oh,
would be
yeah.
We would wanna,
And
do
does you
do
have
we
enough time,
anticipate
too?
any, do we have any, heavy needs? I don't anticipate a lot of
November,
in November.
Probably not.
Okay.
it's year end.
If we went in thinking we could be lighter on the regular meeting, unless there's,
Things come up.
we always have good intentions, but.
Yeah.
But I think
So-
we could shoot to try to keep the meeting agenda light.
If we did that, and we did it on the 9th, we do it all in one sweep.
Yeah.
If something came up, then the following Thursday, we might have
Oh,
to do
okay.
something.
Okay, that's a good approach.
Well, you have to have your budget approved by the end of December. Do you guys meet in December, or do you usually try to not?
No,
We do meet in December.
So if you're gonna have a regular meeting in December, what I would suggest is, if something comes up, and that's why you do it this way, you do the tentative in October and the final in November, so you have a month if something comes up.
Okay,
You don't need to hold a special meeting, you could just wait until your regular meeting in December
in
to take
December,
care of it.
okay. All right, are you guys okay with that?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So have the sorry, go ahead.
So the motion, Jeff, will be to approve the resolution and to amend the tentative budget to replace the Haynes Well number 5 with the Barton Well number 5.
Okay.
And so we'll just need to make sure we make that quick change in
Is
what
that the
we,
only change I've
I
got?
think it's the only
Yeah,
change.
that's the
Haynes
only
to Barton.
change, yep.
And then what's the other one?
That's
From-
Amend?
Yeah, you're approving the resolution subject to the amendment of the tentative budget to swap out Haynes Well number 5 for Barton Well number 5
Okay.
on page 8.
Amended,
Amended.
so, and we're amending the change. We're amending the change of Haynes number 5 to Barton number 5.
Yeah, you're approving the resolution. There's no changes to the resolution itself, subject to the term Haynes Well number 5 being replaced with the term Barton Well number 5 on page 8 of the tentative budget.
Yeah, you could have told me I screwed up before now.
Okay, let's get through this.
Every time I looked at it, my mind went
All right, Mr. Chairman,
to the 5 we're talking about.
I would like to propose to adopt the resolution 2022-04. And now therefore it be it resolved as follows: the approve the attached budget is hereby adopted in the district's tentative budget for the 2023 fiscal year with the change of the Haynes number 5 to Barton number 5 in the tentative budget. And do I read the public hearing?
Yeah.
And a public hearing shall be held on Wednesday, November 9th, 2022 at 6 p.m. at the district's general office building to receive public comment thereon with notice thereof being duly provided pursuant to Utah Code Annual 17B-1-609. A copy of this tentative budget shall be made available for public inspection for a period of at least 7 days prior to the public hearing pursuant to Utah Code 17B-1-608. The effective date of the resolution shall be October 20th, 2022.
I'll second that.
Been motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a proposal to approve November 9th, 2022, 6 p.m. budget hearing.
Second that.
been motion and second.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, a discussion, next regular board meeting will be held November 16, 20.
Actually,
I
that's,
think we
so
changed that now.
it's actually the 17th, is the Thursday, but are you going to hold the regular meeting in conjunction with the public hearing?
No, we're gonna wait till December, aren't we?
Right.
Is that okay?
Well, no, you still have to have a regular, well, you can cancel your regular meeting in November. What I was saying is,
We were gonna have it as part of the November 9th.
yeah, so you're gonna have you're gonna do your regular meeting. What the agenda proposes is you have your next regular meeting on November 17th. But what I had understood is you're gonna try to combine your regular meeting with the budget hearing and do it all
On the
9th.
9th, right.
In the evening.
Right.
So we need to set a time for the regular meeting and a date for the regular meeting.
Immediately following budget hearing,
Or you could do it before, too.
or before.
Let's
Yeah,
do
what
it,
do you-
I wanna do it
it's-
before.
You do, okay.
I don't wanna do it.
We could do like we have done, where we do a meeting, and then do dinner, break, and
And then
budget
do
hearing.
okay. Is
So
that
what
okay
if,
with you?
yeah, so what if you did the meeting at 4 o'clock? And then, are we gonna have, is that gonna give us enough time? It depends on what's on the agenda though. I mean, 4 o'clock, is that gonna be enough time?
If for instance, you don't have enough time and you have to break for the public hearing, you can break for the public hearing and
Then go back.
Please.
Okay,
Okay.
that
Okay.
would be the,
Yeah.
if we have a close. Okay. So, let's see, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to approve a committee,
A regular board meeting.
regular board meeting on, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to propose a regular board meeting on November the 9th at 4 p.m. November 9th, 2022. That's it,
Yes.
at 4 p.m.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, a discussion, possibly motion to appoint Clint Dealey as a member of Mick Sudbury as an alternate to the UASDA Board of Representatives.
So I don't know if you guys recall, but every year before the conference, they ask for a board motion to approve Clint as the member and Mick Sudbury as the alternate member for voting at the UASD conference. That's what this is for. So
Okay.
we just
That's
need
the
a
one that we have
motion.
in Layton and stuff, that's, okay. We have to do that every time, huh? Okay.
Yes.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Clint Dilly as the member, and Mick Sudbury as alternate member to the UASD Board of Representatives.
Second that.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's, training and safety.
So the UASD conference, we just put that on again to remind you, what we do need to know for sure
If we're
is
going.
when the trustees want to go. The
think we're-
managers are already registered, but we need to get you guys.
So we're gonna go, we have to be there at 1 o'clock, right, on that Wednesday, the 2nd?
Oh, I didn't put that in here again, did I? I think
did
so,
see
yes,
it.
it's.
Yeah, it's at 1 o'clock till 4 or
It's on a Wednesday.
that's for the train, that's the, for,
Now, do I need to go to this one?
Yes, so the question is do you guys want to register for that day only, or do you want to go Thursday also?
no, I don't, I
What's
just
the
wanted,
reason to go to Thursday?
Thursdays when they have most of the panels.
But for the board training, it's Wednesday.
Right, that's all we.
and that gives us our
Wednesday, 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I
certifications,
gotta do that.
yeah,
So we'll register.
So it's 1 o'clock till 4.
till
four-ish, I
4,
think.
4:45, I think,
So we will only register you for Wednesday.
right, right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Okay, schedule,
so Mr. Chairman.
okay, sorry,
I'd like to make a motion to approve the UASD Annual Convention, November 2nd to the 4th, 2022 at the Davis Conference Center in Layton.
Second that.
been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, schedules December 1st, 2020 to hold in-house trustee
Alternate.
alternate.
So we're
So
not
if
gonna
you-
do that one.
Yeah, we're not gonna do that one, so,
Right. If you go to the conference, we won't need that.
okay, cool,
That's a
okay.
lot faster. Yeah.
Okay,
What do you think?
yep. Does someone wanna make a motion to close the open?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to close the closed. No, a motion to meet immediately in closed session to discuss character of professional competence or physical or mental health of an individual pending or reasonable imminent litigation and the purchase, exchange, or lease of real property, including any form of water right or water shares pursuant to Utah Code, ANN 52-4-204 through 205.
Second that.
It's been motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
At 12:36.
Oh, yes. Okay, it's are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, it's 1:43. I'd like to make a motion to close the close and reopen the public board meeting.
I'll second that.
It's been motioned and seconded to close the close and to reopen the public board meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, do we have any other business?
I think so.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. It's 1:43. And I made the,
Second it.
it's been motion and second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.